Welcome to the Shank Club NFL live on YouTube, Twitch. Where else are we live? My mind has gone blank. Periscope.
Come on, man.
My name is Nick. I am in the dungeon, bunker, whatever you want to call it, freezing my arse off, as you can see. As usual, I've got my sidekick with me, Pete Bentman, who me and him yesterday went out and actually had a real live drink in a pub. Although we had to eat some pretty manky food, I have to say, it was still definitely worth it. Pete, how are you this week, my man?
Doing good, mate. Yeah, you enjoying my little fire going there? You look like you're pretty cold down in that bunker. Did your missus not bring you a blanket and a hot cocoa to keep you warm today, no?
No, funnily enough, I've just got cigars, tobacco, and beer. I don't need a drink. I bet you've got a nice cup of Nespresso in your cup, haven't you?
Yes, mate, non-alcoholic today. We did. We managed to get and have a few drinks yesterday, which was quite nice. A little early Christmas drink makes a big change. It's been hard, mate, isn't it? So to actually get out and have a drink in a real pub felt good. But we did quite a lot of food.
Right, we have got a plethora of guests to bring on to you shortly. We've got a couple of things we're going to go through. A special segment all for Pete. We got a bit of Steelers talk as well, and then we're going to get into picking some decent games from this week, and then we're just going to do the usual one-word answers on the other ones. So without further ado, Pete,
shall I bring the first guest on?
Bring the first guest on.
Okay, well, there is only one place to start. He's the MVP. He is the one, the only. He's back in the UK, and we are very excited to have him back on the Shank Club. Here he is, Coach Ryan Bold. Coach, thank you very much for joining us again. How are you doing?
Man, I'm outstanding, but I got to ask you guys a question. There's something really, really wrong with this now. I see a guy with a Steelers jersey on in front of the fire with hot chocolate in a nice living room. And then I look over at the 49er guy. He's in the basement. It will look like a bombed out building. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? Life is really different, because usually it's as my friend Nick Holling would say, those prawn eating San Francisco 49er fans and the hard nosed Boilermaker Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But it is, man, you guys got mixed identities today.
Should have switched it up a little bit. I don't think Nick's ever eaten a prawn in his entire life.
Definitely not. I'm not a prawn guy. Jeff, it's really good to see you back with us, and obviously back in the UK on Sky again now, which is really, really good. Good to see you back on there. I've caught you a couple of times on, is it Extra Time, the show you do with, is it Hannah Wilkes?
Hannah started a show as part of the whole NFL thing now at Sky, expanding. Alex Mason, our producer, gave Hannah a chance to have her own show, and she's killed it. I mean, I was on there with her and Josh Denzel, and both of them do an outstanding job, and it's a great show. And I'll be on every Tuesday through the Super Bowl, so I'm looking forward to hanging out with them and talking football. And it's kind of a different kind of show. It's kind of low key and lighthearted, and it's good. It's really, really good. I'm really happy for Hannah, because she's a really talented young lady and has worked really hard for this opportunity.
Definitely. It's great to see you back on our screens again, Jeff.
Brother, I didn't have any Twitter. Like, I was down in San Antonio working that NFL project with Mike Singletary, and all of a sudden I did the last Coffee with Coach on Tuesday, and then my Twitter shut down. And I mean, you try and get your Twitter back up is like paralyzing. And so I'm sorry. I didn't want you guys to think that I wasn't paying attention, because I hang on every word you guys say.
I'm sure that's not true, Jeff. But
no, it is true.
Jeff, we'll come back to you. It's great having you on the show, and I say it's great having you back in the UK. We're just going to bring another couple of guests on, and then we can get the show rolling and we can talk some ball. So let's bring in Carl, our resident expert, shall we say now. He's the one.
We'll go that far.
Carl, how you doing, mate? You doing good?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Mr. Ryan Bold. Good afternoon, Mr. Ryan Bold. Good to see you again.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
We'll talk with Carl a little bit later on. We've also got Scott over in Kansas joining us again today. How you doing, Scott?
Doing good. How y'all doing?
We are doing very good. Looking comfy as always.
You relaxing as usual with your cigar on, being a Smoke Chiefs fan.
Over there, but it looks like Wayne Newton's doing your interior decorating over there. Looks good, man. I like it.
Thanks, man. I'm sure my missus will be very happy.
We've 19-1 in the last 20 games for the KC Chiefs. That's pretty good. That's rarefied air.
Nick, obviously your buddy John over the San Francisco 49ers fan is back joining us today. It was great having him on last week. So John, it's cool having you on again today, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No problem. The dog not joining us today?
No, well, you know, she might make an appearance. Depends on who walks by.
Well, you know what happened
last week.
You know what happened last week? Pete started talking a lot of crap, and the dog started going berserk in the background. So if the dog loves it, you know what's going to happen.
She's a Niner fan as well.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff's dog Duke sort of liked me either. She was always sort of barging around whenever I was talking crap. So obviously me and dogs don't mix.
Hey, I tell you what, as your dog that's a 49ers fan, has he been on injured reserve at all this year?
No, God willing, not, man. No.
I think everybody in San Francisco's been hurt.
Jesus, I mean, they kicked us out of the city, man.
Even the stadium is now on injured reserve. It's crazy.
Which is crazy because the Warriors get to play in the neighboring city, which is, I believe, like the San Francisco. I don't know if it's like it's a suburb or whatever, but the Santa Clara, you know, they're miles apart, and the Warriors can play, but the Niners had to kick rocks and get out of town. So. I don't know. It is what it is.
Indeed.
They'll still try to put us down, John, but we still keep coming back off the canvas and punching people's faces in.
You're damn right there, Nick. You're damn right. It's going to be a nice week.
And again, it was great having Dion on the show with us last week as well, making a popular return. Dion, how you doing, mate? You keeping well?
Oh, yeah, man. I appreciate you guys having me back on. What's going on, everyone? Good morning from the West Coast. It's real early over here, man. Carl, love this guy, man. Love this guy. And I've got a good question for all of you English and UK gentlemen, if you have a second.
Of course.
This is the question I've always wanted to ask somebody who's really from over on the other side of the pond, so to speak. How did you feel about the Austin Powers movie? Did you feel offended by it?
Hilarious.
I didn't catch the question. What was that?
How did you guys feel about the Austin Powers movie?
Oh, right. Yeah, loved it. One of the greatest ever.
Okay. I loved every last one of them. I almost memorized all of them. The shits are hilarious to me, but I always want to ask people from over there because it's like, you know, you never know if that offends somebody's culture. If somebody was like, that's not us. And I'm like, always need to ask that question. But John, I think Carl was the one who hit me up the other day about talking my shit about Santa Clara. Well, I did some digging. I figured out what the problem is.
Okay, what's the problem?
Oh, you want to get right on into that right now? It's real easy. Yeah, let him bring everybody in, and I'll get right into it.
We're on now. So Nick, whatever you want to do, if you want Dion to sort of go into what he's
doing. Lead us off, my man. We have got two special segments which everyone except Pete knows about. But yeah, Dion, lead off with your Santa Clara rant.
All right. Y'all done opened the door to Pandora's box. Let's dive right on in. So the biggest thing that I figured out was this is all about money. So when Jed York came to Santa Clara and wanted to build a stadium, I believe the stadium cost around $987 million. It was approved. We got, I believe, about a 10 or 12 year lease, somewhere around there. And we've got about, I think, 4 or 5 more years left on that lease. So here's some of the biggest issues. Basically, during the week, Monday through Friday, they have a 10 p.m. curfew on the stadium. So you know that these stadiums are not always going to be used for strictly football. They're going to be used for concerts, all kinds of other stuff, different types of venues. So let me give you a list of the people that wanted to perform in Levi Stadium on the day. Oh, now that was weird. You see John B and Mr. Rogers take a sip at the same time in unison? That's some But we could have had, you would have had U2, Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, and the Rolling fucking Stones. They all wanted to perform at the stadium, but we got a 10 o'clock curfew on weekdays. I thought they built stadiums far enough away from people's homes that it didn't matter what time you closed the damn joint. But Monday through Friday, you got a 10 p.m. curfew. So what does Jed York do? Mr. York, with all his money, he runs and he funds a thing called the Citizens for Efficient Government and Full Voting Rights. So basically what that is a foundation funded by him solely to basically upend the city council government that is in Santa Clara. So Mayor Lisa Gilmore went at him hard because basically Jed came in and they said that you don't want to live in Santa Clara, you want to live in Yorkville. That was her running joke. She basically was saying that Jed York has been trying to buy Santa Clara ever since he got there. There have been issues with how much money is coming from the stadium. They literally have tried to basically take away the rights of Jed York and the York family from managing the stadium and exactly what revenue comes in and what goes out. So this big issue strictly is all about bread. Ever since they got to Santa Clara, there's been nothing but problems. They've said that Jed York has promised them several soccer fields for young children. Instead, he's never given them anything. They've also stated that basically there's certain revenues that should be coming from the stadium going back into the city. They've never gotten this money, so to speak. But basically what it is like the people on that council with Jed York that are trying to basically get some more seats in city council are stating that Jed York would like more minority representation on the council, which is currently 4 white women and 1 Asian American male. So basically York is endorsing, a couple of other candidates that are, of course, not white, and he is trying to basically figure out exactly what he can do to be able to get better people in city council so he can have a little more slack and more leeway with what goes on at Levi Stadium. And that's basically the issue. So you got to remember those stadiums make a ton of money outside of just football because football is played 1 day a week. But if you have other events there, you have concerts, you have just different things. You tell somebody, hey, you play soccer on this field, whatever the case may be. The local high schools have their, city championship there. You possibly can get a state championship played there for California. All of these things come into play. And then, you wind up in a situation where you make a ton more money, but then you got a city sitting here going, we don't like you. We don't want you to make any money. And at the same time, we want all of your money. You got to stop and go, come on, man. Now, what are we doing here? So basically, that has been the big issue. It's all been about money. And literally, because Jed York has tons of it, they want more, and 49er fans are suffering because of it. Because like John B was saying, the Warriors get to play, but we don't. Good morning, Kelly. But that's just the whole point of it, man. It's all about funding that he was supposed to give to the city and money they didn't get. And I don't, Mayor Gilmore doesn't like him. And, Jed York is this bad guy. But the other thing I said as well is, along with the issues, you got to remember he was at the forefront of the social justice movement, providing money to those kinds of causes. He was Colin Kaepernick thing started while he was there in Santa Clara. All of these things are going down. The owners, the other 31 owners can't stand him, So Jed George basically got himself, with a huge target on his back, forehead, and everything else, and he's trying his best to come out of it. But that's basically exactly what's going on, man. He's at war with the city council and the mayor, and they really don't even care.
Is this a topic that you were talking about last week, Nick? Was it that you're carrying over here?
Yeah. Basically, why Santa Clara is trying to shaft the Niners and vice versa, and it was because of a soccer field that was next to, I think, there was a field that they took back and made it into part of the practice facility and things like that. So there's a lot of, shall we say, shenanigans going on. It's I mean, to be honest, it's all everything. NFL, any sports team is always about money, and it, what you said, Dion, doesn't surprise me at all.
Not at all. It's just unfortunate that you guys can't come to a happy medium. See, we didn't have this kind of crap when we were in San Francisco. We were playing at Candlestick. We never had these kind of issues. And when the minute we moved to Santa Clara, my first thought was, I've lived in California for a very large part of my life. Where the fuck is Santa Clara? I never even heard of it. And randomly, we moved there. And the minute we moved there, I said, I don't know about this. And we started having problems from day one. That's just basically how it works.
Yeah,
it's not release, though, a good thing.
Having other events and sporting events and music events in a stadium, it might actually get some noise in Levi Stadium as opposed to when the football team's playing and it's pretty quiet, right? So,
wow, here we go.
Don't worry, Jeff. Don't worry, he's getting his little shots in because now we have a very special, just a little interlude that I just want to play you about Pete's beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. And then I'm going to get his comments on it because, as I say, it's just a short little interlude from Colin Cowherd talking about his beloved Steelers.
Let me grab my charger.
Hit it.
This is going to be fun.
Oh, he's failed. There's no sound.
No, it's the best Colin Cowherd ever.
Hang on. I'm having some issues here. What do you mean can't get no sound? Can't get no sound?
We've got no sound from the great man himself coming out.
That's nice, interesting because the Twitter feed is actually
all the work in to make this go really well. Well done there, Nick.
Listen, I'm not playing this.
The video's up. The video's up full blast. I don't know why it won't cover through your side.
Well,
no, can anyone hear it when he plays it? It doesn't work, does it? It's not just me.
No, I can't hear it either.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
Well done, Carl. Dear, oh dear. You try and set these things up.
Listen,
but
we don't need him on the show.
You bring a guest. Bring somebody that knows whether football has air or feathers in it. Don't bring that guy ever. That guy, are you kidding me? Clickbait. Huh?
Yeah, but it's what a lot of what he said. I don't know if has everyone heard. Well, I know Pete probably hasn't, but has everyone heard that segment that he did on the show?
What he said? What he said?
Carl, you made some notes, I believe.
He's basically okay. He's basically turned around and said the Steelers right now at this minute in time are not a very good football team. You look down the schedule that they've actually played. They've only played two teams that are over 500. They played against the Giants in the first game. Well, they got a brand new coach in Joe Judge, and they were 0-5 in the first 5 weeks. They then they beat the Broncos by 5 points against I think it was Drew Lock. Oh no, sorry, Jeff Driscoll, because Drew Lock went down injured. You lost to 7 against the Houston Texans. Okay, Texans they're better, but they weren't very good to start the season. They beat the Eagles, little to be said about that. They beat the Browns, little to be said about that. Outside of the Titans game, which they won 27-24 against Ryan Tannehill, every team they've beaten has just been excuse the term of phrase, trash. Cowboys, they played the Bungles. They beat the Jags. And then Wednesday night just gone, it was a pathetic display against the Baltimore Ravens.
All right.
It's just
All right. I'm gonna say, because everybody who's playing in the NFL is a hell of a football player. There is no team, and I mean the Cowboys. You can include the Jacksonville. I don't care who you say. There ain't nobody that's just inept, right? See, that kind of statement by the media pisses me off, Frank. Right? Because it discredits the freaking Browns have won 8 games. 8 games in the National Football. I'm telling you, fellas, in pro football, it is a bitch to win every week. I don't care who you're playing, right? Because those guys you're playing every week, they get paid too, right? Every single one of them. And so when a guy like that who doesn't know, who couldn't put a jock strap on because he wouldn't know how it fits, right, makes those kind of statements, it's disrespectful to professional football players, and they're the greatest athletes in the world, right? So I don't want to hear that kind of shit.
He's just trying to justify the fact that at the beginning of the season,
what I'm doing is I'm doing exactly what he wants me to do, which is get pissed about it because it's so what he's saying is so ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I think that's how he's made a career, and that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I'm telling you, he doesn't know anything about football, nothing, and you can't be a guy that doesn't.
But you can't tell me that. I understand where you're coming from, Jeff. I get that 100%. But at the end of the day, you can't tell me that your season doesn't look so great when you face mediocre competition.
I'm telling you,
they have been playing teams that have shitty records.
You can only play the people that are on your schedule. That's who you play. That's it. You can't play.
I give you that.
You want to say, well, they played they haven't played, but 2 teams over 500. You can say all that stuff because that's true. Those are facts. But I'm telling you, I've done this for a living for 35 years, and every week you prepare. You better bring your game. Now they didn't play well against Baltimore, and Mike Tomlin called them out on it. And I thought when I heard Tomlin's comments, I thought, okay, that's just Mike trying to get his team, motivated for the next week. But I went back and looked at the film, and they didn't play very well. They made mistakes. They weren't good in the red zone. They dropped passes. They took penalties. They fumbled punts. They did all kinds of things that should have cost them the game. Now, was Baltimore underpowered? Yes, right? But you still, when that guy drops that punt at the 15-yard line, your defense has still got to go out there against professional football players and stop the touchdown. And they did that. They made the plays that they had to make to win. And as Herman Edwards said a long time ago, you play to win the game, right?
Jeff, I'm glad I've got you on the show today, Jeff, backing me up because
you obviously paid Jeff to back you up. That the Steelers are not going to win.
But that's like if you okay. So you go ahead, and I love to hear Mr. Rogers' take on this one. Kansas City jumps out to a 17-0 lead, right, at the end of the first quarter. And it ain't even close. And then all of a sudden, they're in the fourth quarter fighting their ass off to win a football game, right? Now, is that Kansas City's fault? Right?
Yes.
Those guys on the other side are pretty good too, and they can throw it and catch it and block and tackle and do all the things that you got to do, right? So that's what I'm saying, guys, to think that it's just – walkovers when you play Jacksonville, it ain't like that. I'm telling you, it ain't like that.
No, and the perfect example there, Jeff, is obviously
those guys are the best in the world.
Yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars nearly beat the Green Bay Packers. They almost beat the Cleveland Browns. So don't be bringing me Jags are a 1-9 team and they're fucking useless. That's absolute rubbish. They scored 20 points on us, and we defended like hell. We are beating everyone that is put in front of us, and that's all that matters. And you're saying, they're not.
Almost doesn't count, though. Almost doesn't count in the real world. Almost does not count.
Well, hold on. Okay, well, all right, Dion, give me this one then. And what's the argument with Nick the other day is when it comes to the AFC, apart from Kansas City, what team do the Steelers need to fear at the moment? Because if at this rate we're going to be playing the teams in the AFC Championship game, so who else in the AFC do the Steelers fear? Well, the Browns, we've beaten them. The Ravens, we've beaten them twice. Tennessee, we've beaten them. You tell me another team in the AFC that we need to be worried about.
I got one. I got one for you.
Go ahead, Carl.
Let me guess, Raiders.
No.
No.
I'll tell you for real. You need to be worried about the Titans. You need to be worried about Tennessee. Here's why.
Absolutely.
You may have beaten them that one time, but the Titans in the playoffs are a whole different ball game. I'm gonna tell you right now, AJ Brown speed and King Henry. You see what he did to Josh Norman. Don't make him do it to Minka Fitzpatrick. And plus, you guys just lost a key piece in Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree is gone with an ACL.
Man, you know the Steelers got to worry about? Same people that the Chiefs got to worry about and all 32 teams got to worry about. The team that's in their locker room all week long. Mm-hmm. That's who you worry about. Because you can't control Minka if you're in Kansas City, you can't control Minka Fitzpatrick. If you're in Pittsburgh, you can't control Tyreek Hill. You can't. What you can control is you. And so what we do as fans, we focus on all of that other outside shit, right? Which is just noise because it has no bearing. Andy Reid's preparation has nothing to do with Mike Tomlin's preparation. Mike Tomlin's preparation is his own, and that's who you worry about. Because the Steelers can't control anything but the Steelers. And when you start to figure that out, then the game becomes much, much simpler. But we as fans don't see it that way because we're fans, right? We're emotionally attached to it.
It's true. That's true. I mean, these guys have wanted to throw pelters at the Steelers for the last few weeks, and I'm justified. I haven't admitted that they are the best team in the NFL, and I've said they're not by a long shot, and they are just scraping through the games. But at the end of the day, a team that isn't playing well that still gets a W, to me, is still a really good team. They're finding a way to win every single week, and it doesn't matter what team it is. We're there. We're 11-0. The record's irrelevant, really. Even if they'd lost a couple of games, I'd still sort of feel that we're in the hunt here. But
you know what? Like, I watched the 49er game, and I thought they did a freaking amazing job last week. I mean, an amazing job. Shanahan, he is so underrated, right? I mean, what he got done, and they're starting to get healthy, but I'm telling you, they played their ass off last week, right? I mean, they played their ass off. If they play at that level, they can beat anybody in the league. I swear.
And now they're only 1.5 games behind the Arizona Cardinals, so they are not out the playoffs.
Arizona, there's another team. They're not playing well at all right now. You look at Arizona and you watch it and you go, "Are you kidding me? How many third and shorts and fourth and shorts have they not converted in the last 3 weeks?" If he doesn't throw that Hail Mary against Buffalo, they're only the last 3 weeks and not playing very well.
Mm.
So they better watch their ass because San Francisco will reach up and get them.
Well, the thing is, we are the team that nobody wants to face if we sneak into the playoffs. Because you're going to look and go, oh, it's it's the injury 49ers. We don't need to be worried about them. But randomly, we've got all our people back. So, I mean, for me, the only thing is next year, I'm looking toward next year. I figure if we at least get into the playoffs and win at least a wild card game, that's a win for me. I'd rather have a successful season than a losing one. I never want to end up on the wrong side of 500, especially since Kyle Shanahan already has a pretty crappy record from all of his seasons as a head coach. He only has one winning season. He was 6-10 and 4-12, and then he went 13-3.
Shanahan's got to be a good call for Coach of the Year this year for what he's doing.
Yeah, because he took over a dumpster fire when he got that job.
He did. He took over a big dumpster fire, but the thing is he didn't put the fire out immediately because he tried to bring in a lot of dudes that were there. And yes, we were competitive when we were 1-9. We were losing these games, John V, by what? 3, maybe 4 points, if that. Sometimes 2 points. We set a record in the NFL that year for losing games by such a small margin. You know
what
I mean?
Talking about with CJ?
That was when we had Brian Hoyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is a horrible. That name is a dumpster fire in that of itself.
My condolences. Yeah, my condolences.
Yeah, but we're that dark horse that nobody wants to play. I can tell you that right
now.
Look at what he's getting out of Mullins, right? Mullins is going to be a career backup. That's all he is, right? And I'm telling you, he's given the kid a chance to have success. So, like, to me, when I watch a game, I don't watch it like an analytics guy. I watch it from a football standpoint. And so I see the things he's given Mullins to do. And it's really, it was an outstanding coaching job last week. I mean, really, really a good coaching job. Mullins is Mullins is in the Brian Hoyer class. He's a lifetime backup in the National Football League. And guys, this game is so quarterback dominant, right? Look at Pittsburgh last year. They lose their guy, and they got Duck Devlin or whatever that freaking guy's name is.
He was out there throwing ducks. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, and I mean, seriously, if you took Pat Mahomes away from Kansas City, are they 19-1 in the last 20? Nope.
Hell no.
Nope.
Hell no.
So that's one of the things that's so impressive about what San Francisco did last week is, they went out and they beat a good football team with a backup quarterback and a beat up lineup.
And going back to the cowherd thing, I think kind of the thesis or what he was trying to get at wasn't that the Steelers necessarily aren't a good team. He was kind of pointing out what you just said, Jeff, that they got kind of lucky playing some backup quarterbacks, and it's been kind of a softer schedule, and that the 11-0 feels kind of hollow, I think was what he kept saying, and that it's just not as impressive as some other teams in the past have started 11-0. I don't necessarily think that he was trying to disparage the Steelers or was trying to say that they're not a good team, because you don't go 11-0 if you're not a good team. There's just no way that happens in the NFL. I think his point really was more that they've caught some breaks and that, maybe the challenge hasn't been as tough as some people, Steelers fans, are making it out to be. Because, like talking about playing Jeff Driscoll, I mean, I get that every person that's on an NFL team was the best player on their youth league team, was the best player on their high school team, was one of the best players on their college team, depending on what college they went to. But, I mean, if you're going to play the Broncos, you'd rather play Jeff Driscoll than Drew Lock. I mean, that's just facts.
I don't know if you saw that game, but I'll tell you what, Jeff Driscoll nipped the place up against us. He had an amazing game when he played for the Broncos at a time where Drew Lock wasn't really doing that much. So Driscoll had a great game, but I don't know why all of a sudden, just because the Steelers are 11-0, why they're getting called out for playing backup quarterback.
It's a great point you make, because like the same deal. You can't control who you play, right? I mean, you can't control anybody else's injury. You just got to get to the next week and try and get a W. What would concern me after watching the tape of the Baltimore game was why the lack of focus. Maybe it was because the game kept getting pushed back and all that other stuff. But that's a divisional rival game. And if I'm Mike, I'm not worried, but I'm concerned about what will we learn from that experience and say, okay, when we go play Cleveland or we go play Cincinnati or we got to go, there's going to come another time when you're going to have to, it's not going to be a normal prep week. There's going to be, this is the COVID thing, man. I mean, shit changes every day. So the other thing with the Steelers was I was really surprised at their approach, because they were in so much 4 and 5 wides, 5 detached, empty backfield. And I think that all had to do with the fact Baltimore and their scheme, right? Because if you go back to remember when Kansas City played Baltimore and they ripped them? Kansas City said, okay, you can play all that man, but we're going to get the ball out faster than your blitz can get there. And they had free runners to Pat the whole game, but Pat knew right where to go with the ball, and they were playing cushion in the back end. And so it was like boom, 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 boom. So if they get bad weather, if they go to Tennessee, I mean, there's a lot of situations where you say, my concern if I'm a Steeler fan is, can we run the ball good enough to finish a game, to close a game out?
That has definitely been our big downfall this year, is our running game just hasn't been there, which is why I think you've seen, I think it was over 50 times Big Ben threw the ball against Baltimore, and how quickly he's getting out of his hands was pretty much down to the fact that Baltimore blitzed more than any other team, and he didn't want to get hit. He had to get that ball out there, and there was a lot on the wide receivers. There's a lot of ball dropping and things like that. But they're playing to their strengths. They know they haven't got a great run game. They are playing the pass to set up the run at the moment. And yeah, you're right, Jeff. You do sometimes need to take the air out of the ball at the end of the game. And I don't think we do have that at the moment. We definitely need to improve the run game, and I think they know that. But it doesn't matter. Good teams adapt and they build on what they're good at, and they realise that they're not that great in the running game, so they're giving it to Ben to make plays. And at the right times, the guys are coming out. You look at that pass at the end that he threw up there at James Washington, brought down within 3 players to kill the game off. And they're making the plays at the right time. It's not always pretty. It's not always that nice to see, but that's Steelers football, right?
What you can remember is, though, here's the thing. Y'all had a chance to bring Le'Veon home now. Le'Veon got released from the Jets. And tell you right now, this is because the Steelers have always had good running backs.
I don't think it's on
wound up going to Rashard Mendenhall. You know what I mean? You went from him to Mendenhall. You wound up with Le'Veon Bell. Like, the thing is I know that was a scarred relationship, but the man is there in Kansas City on a cheap deal. You could have told him, Le'Veon, you need to sit down with Ben, iron out your problems, hash it out. You, Ben, Juju, and Mike need to have a sit down, figure this crap out. We'll bring you back in. You know the scheme. You know what we're doing. Let's go ahead and just break a little bread.
That's the problem, man. It's on the offensive line. I mean, they're great at pass protection, but the run game just isn't there. And obviously, we lost Zach Banner in the first game. Obviously, Pouncey was out this game as well in the centre. And all the guys are having a real down year when it comes to the running game. And you look at the stats. That's what it is. But on the pass protect, they're great. And I say they're playing to their strengths. And I don't know, perhaps playing the passing game will eventually open up the run game. I don't know. But at the end of the day, they are beating whoever is put in front of them. They're finding ways to beat them. But yeah, what Jeff said, I am concerned that they can't take the air out of the ball at the end of the game. And that might well be a concern. But I think you guys also forget with Derrick Henry, I'm pretty sure we managed to sort of snuff him out, and also the Cleveland Browns run game as well. So we can defend the run, which does make a difference. But obviously now with Bud Dupree going out, which is an absolute shame.
Yeah, that hurt.
Normally with the pairing of TJ and Bud as the greatest outside pairing in the NFL, squeezing them down the middle for Tuitt and Hayward and Alualu to smash them up. We'll see. We'll see how good Bud Dupree really was. Obviously, we had Alex Highsmith, Sam on the show last week. I don't think he thought that obviously his boy was now going to be sort of getting as many plays, but we'll see. Next man up, and that's what the Steelers have done all season. Next man up, and they've been good. They've done everything asked of them, and I just hope that we continue it on. But the Washington game is going to be a fun game because, as me and Nick have said all season, Alex Smith, comeback player of the season. If there's ever a team that I feel deserves to beat an undefeated team with what they've gone through in the off-season, what the coach is going through, what Alex Smith's gone through, if Washington beat us this week, I really won't care because I'd be really happy for them if they beat the Steelers this week.
Hey, well, if you think about it, we know about next man up. You know, many players we had on IR. Oh, we understand next man up.
Yeah. Dion, I was just about to say, Pete, well, two of his line have gone down and 2 of his linebackers have gone down. Boo-hoo-hoo. Nearly 105 players 49ers have used this season. So you've lost 4. Oh dear, what a shame. When I watch and I watched the Steelers the other night, the only good thing about the Steelers is your defense, because your offense is fucking horrible to watch.
I mean, I don't understand why people are just bringing up the last game. I mean, the last game, it was supposed to be played.
Every game.
It was supposed to be played on Thanksgiving, then it was going to play on Sunday, then it was going to be on Monday. Then it's just like forever and ever. I mean, these guys had no idea what was going on. I think you kind of need to just completely write that game off. I mean, the fact that they played it, we got a W, that's all that matters.
I can't wait for the Steelers to get absolutely trounced in the AFC game by KC, because they are going to rip you a new one. And talking about ripping new ones, people last week saw the show, okay? And what did you bring out, and what did you say about the San Francisco? What did you say, and what did you bring out last week? Go live.
I did bring out the golden fork, and I did fork the Niners last week.
You forked the Niners, so you know that you right. Well, guess what? This week, I am going to fork you. Okay? Forked, talking, absolute drivel.
Brilliant.
And I found the best picture of you I could. And I don't know what you were doing there, whether you were on the John or what, I don't know.
He looks high.
This potato is going to come out every week that you say something ridiculous. So unfortunately, I didn't have it with me last week, but this week, Pete, I forked you for talking absolute crap.
I think
That's
you got
exactly
that
the same look that
Maybe
Nick Mullins has.
Glamour shots. I got that at.
That, yeah, John, you're right. That was, yeah. I mean, I didn't honestly Photoshop Nick Mullins' eyes on Pete, but every time you see him in that huddle, or he gets up after he's been sacked or hurried.
Oh my God,
he is like a deer in the headlight. I mean,
he looks
that last drive to win the game. He did make a couple of clutch throws, etc. But yeah, God, he scares me.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you don't feel good
sometimes. But
I'm never comfortable. Like Scott, when Patrick Mahomes is in the 2-minute drill, you're comfortable. You feel good about the outcome of this. You're gonna get, your quarterback is gonna get those guys the ball. For 49er fans, injuries, Nick Mullins looks like he shit his pants and everybody knows it. You know what I mean? And he's got that look. The unfortunate thing about it is that we're not comfortable when he throws the ball. I hold my breath every time because I don't know what's going to happen, especially games that are leading up to a playoff push. I want to be comfortable knowing that my quarterback can deliver the ball in crucial moments. He goes 4 and out, and that dude wears that misery for the remainder of the game. He just looks defeated, and that doesn't sell the fans confidence in their quarterback. So, and that goes in part too, Pete, with the Steelers. Okay. I mean, we could sit here and say 11-0, 11-0, 11-0, but my proof would be, let's see how you deliver in the playoffs, because that's when the run game, that's when all aspects of the football game have to come together. Let's just face it. Teams in the playoffs turn it up. They turn it up 10 plus. You're getting the best coverage. You're getting the best pressure, the best blitzes. They're giving it everything they got every play. And Jeff, you can account for that. You've probably seen as a special teams coach and just the coach of the game, players turn it up. They want it bad. And Pete, I worry about how the Steelers are going to perform under that kind of pressure.
I certainly worry about playing the likes of the Chiefs, but I think everybody does, and I think that is the difference with having such a special player like Mahomes. That he will make plays that players like Big Ben will never make. I mean, you look at that sort of run that he did against the Titans to win the game in the playoffs last year, when he sort of went on the outside and then tiptoed down the sideline, and basically the Titans just decided to just give him a free rein into the end zone and not bother tackling the guy. But these are the sort of plays that quarterbacks like Mahomes, the Steelers are never, ever going to be, Big Ben's never going to make that play. These old QBs are never going to do that. And I think that is what makes these teams like the Chiefs so special. Watson can do it. Lamar can do it. They can just add, when things don't go right, their brain then sort of clicks in, and then they can then make a play. And that is the one thing, like you say, when it comes to playoff football, that can be the difference, because you're not going to see Ben making plays like that. You probably wouldn't see Breeze, Rivers, people like that sort of making these special plays that Holmes is able to do. And I think that would be the ultimate thing, that you've got to just stop that. You can't give that when Brady had the ball with 2 minutes to go, the guy, just don't give him the ball. You know he's going to come back and score. And it's the same with Mahomes now. You just need to make sure that they haven't got the ball in the last 2 minutes with a chance to win the game. And if you can get in that position, then I think you've got a chance.
I agree. I mean, Ben's been known to carry defenders. He's just a different quarterback. Brady, Roethlisberger, those guys, we've seen them stand in the pocket when it is caving on their left and right side. They stay completely still, eyes forward, and they make those throws. Guys like Watson and Mahomes, they don't let the pocket they get out before the going gets rough.
Yeah.
And that's where they're dangerous. So ultimately, different quarterbacks bring different dynamics. We know that. But things that Ben can do and things that he did in his youth, he was shaking guys. They were hanging on this dude. Mm-hmm. And he had the arm strength. You know, as long as they're not hanging on Ben's arm, he's getting rid of the ball. So
he doesn't go down easily. He never has.
Doesn't go down easy. Those are things that
people wrapped around. I've seen, one thing that they say, and Jeff, you being a coach, when they talk about quarterbacks, what do they always talk about? Their feet, right? Setting your feet, having the right placement. Ben don't need that. I watched a dude wrapped around Ben's ankles, and he stood there and made a pinpoint pass. It doesn't matter. Like, he's too hard to take down. So for the Steelers, at the end of the day, to beat, this is Mr. Rodgers and his Chiefs, you have to keep your foot on the gas 100 miles an hour and not let off. This is a high-speed car chase, and you are running through England. And believe me, I've seen the movies. Y'all need to get in one of those roundabouts and keep running for Patrick Mahomes. I'm telling you. And find a way to go in that motherfucker so many times that by the time you exit, he doesn't know where you are. The reason being is because that's how we lost the Super Bowl. When they came to halftime and Kyle was like, oh, we were comfortable with our lead. You don't need to get comfortable against Patrick Mahomes. What are you doing? Have you not seen the dude make how many comebacks this year?
Yeah, they came back from behind.
You don't give him any time. If you give Patrick Mahomes 1 second, that's 1 second, 2 minutes.
Yeah. You put the foot on the throat.
Yeah, all the time. Exactly. You need what you need to do is I said this last time and I'll say it before. You need to have a Bill Belichick mentality. I am one of those people where this was funny because I helped a buddy of mine coach a youth football team one time. I coached up his defensive backs and I taught them exactly how to play well within the rules that were given to them. People were wondering, why were these defensive backs playing so well? And I said, because I taught them, and the number one thing I taught them was keep your foot on the gas the whole game. I don't care if you are up 66 to nothing. You need to continue to play hard because the minute you take your foot off the gas, they come back. You know what I'm saying? And if Kyle had that Bill Belichick in him, wouldn't be losing games. You see why Bill Belichick has 6 rings and he's went to 9 Super Bowls. Why? Because he keeps his foot on the gas at all times. He doesn't want to give you a moment to breathe. He wants to make sure he's going to do everything that he can to beat you. And if he embarrasses you in the process, he'll walk out and shake your hand. And he'll have that weird straight face look that nobody understands. And he'll go, yeah, good game.
Well,
like that.
Coach, obviously your Raiders have taken the Chiefs very close this season. I mean, what were they doing?
Very well.
What have they done that other teams can take away from that to sort of try and work out how to beat this Chiefs team?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you got to be able to run the football because you need to control the clock. Now, I'm not a time of possession guy. I really don't believe in that philosophy that time of possession is a big factor in games. But what you will recognize is the one way you can stop Patrick Mahomes is not let him on the field. And so you have to take the approach that you're playing 4-minute football from the kickoff. And as a coach, you talk about situational football. One of the situations that you practice each week is 4 minutes left to go in the game and you have a lead. How do you handle the clock? All right. So the same principle starts when you take the football. You win. Let's say you win. They win the toss and defer. You get the ball. You have to take every second of the play clock and keep them on the sidelines. That's the only way you're going to stop them. The only way. And basically do what if you watch Navy, right? Navy is the best coach football team in college. And they understand clock management, how to use them. They have no players. I'm telling you, no players. They've got a bunch of kids that are going to serve their country, right? And they're beating people that have a lot of players every year. And they know how to play complementary football. So what they want is they want to be 3rd and 2 every series. And they're going to use the clock, and every series is going to be a minute and 50 to get a first down, and then another minute and 50, and another minute and 50. And what that does to teams like Kansas City, and this is where Mahomes is really good, because he seems to be more mature than most young quarterbacks would be in that situation. When you start to keep the ball away from him, usually what happens to guys in Vegas. They start pressing their bets, right? And they start trying to make throws that they shouldn't make. Pat doesn't do that. He plays within whatever the situation is. But I really do believe that that's the only way. You're not going to beat them in a shootout. I think we've seen too many teams try and do that. Right? Who in the National Football League has that kind of weapons, right? So if Hill doesn't play well, yeah, but Watkins does, but Kelsey does, but Hilaire does, but, right? There's another guy that they can go to. Mm-hmm. Nobody in football, nobody. I mean, the Steelers got great receivers, right? But nobody in football has that group of weapons. And so the only way to stop that group of weapons is to keep them on the sidelines. And I think that the Raiders did that, and they didn't turn it over, because you cannot give them bonus possession, right? Stats will tell you that there's going to be 10 to 12 possessions in a football game, in a normal football game. And if you give an offense like Kansas City has additional possessions because you turn it over or whatever, you're putting a gun to your temple and saying, blow my head off. And that's what they'll do. That's what they've done for the last 20 games.
But don't you think the Raiders
talk about this Super Bowl game? We would all have a completely different opinion, I believe, if late in the game, when they need a play and Kansas City plays bracket coverage and Emmanuel Sanders runs right through the bracket and it's a touchdown with about, I think, 2 minutes to go in the game. I can't remember how much time left. And Jimmy G couldn't get the ball on him. He overthrew him. That ball game's over. We're all sitting here saying, Kansas City, great season, but you didn't win it. That's how fine the line is between winning and losing. Emmanuel was wide ass open. I talked to him after the game. He was sick. He was outside the stadium by himself, and I ran into him outside the stadium. I said, "What are you doing out here?" And he said, "I can't believe he didn't hit me on that throw." Because that you talk about a defining moment of a guy's career. That could have been one of those ones that 40 years from now, NFL Films goes back and it's the catch too, right? And he's wide ass open, and Jimmy G's going to put the ball on it. That's the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, for sure.
See, so you don't think Mahomes gets the ball back with 2 minutes and 2 times?
I don't think they win it in that situation. I really don't. I think
he does it all the time. He just did it.
I know that, but again,
so I don't know.
I think the momentum in the stadium was such.
And I don't.
I really think that with San Francisco had a good defense now, right? It wasn't like there was just not going to be nobody on the field. Now, that's the great thing we'll never know, right? And the only thing we can say is the Chiefs were our Super Bowl champions. But that's how fine a line it is between winning and not winning.
And see, you're talking about the Raiders.
You just thrown loads of hand grenades there because you've upset me, John, and Dion having to live that again. You've made Pete happy.
This is exactly why I paid for Coach's air flight all the way from Hawaii to come back to the UK. Just to sort of
So you did pay him off.
Go back to the Raiders. Talk to me about, as a Kansas City guy, what you thought about the Raider game. Just an anomaly, just a bad day?
Well, no. See, I thought the Raiders did what the Chiefs did. I didn't think they ran the ball that well. I thought in the game they won, they scored 41 points and were throwing the ball all over the Chiefs down the field and made big plays. And in the second game, it was still kind of a shootout. It was 35-31, and both teams were going down and scoring at will. And Derek Carr was throwing lasers, and Waller and Aguilar were getting open down the field. I mean, they did run the ball some, but I think the Titans made that mistake in the AFC Championship game last year. Try to control the clock, keep the ball away from Mahomes, run with Henry, and they shut Henry down, and he had 7 yards in the second half, and Mahomes roasted him down the field and blew it apart in the second half. So
Well,
I don't see a team.
I agree with you on the
control
thing.
run the ball.
The Raiders did a good job of getting a guy in coverage that can't cover, right? And that hurt them bad, because if I look at Kansas City and I say, where are the liabilities, right? Where you say we might be able to run the ball on them inside, because I'm not convinced that they're stout enough inside. If I can get Daniel Sorensen in one-on-one coverage, I'm going to try that matchup every time I can get it. Even Matthew is a little bit suspect as a cover guy, and I think what Spags done a great job with is when he last year. Do you remember when he took Matthew from being the free safety and let him play in the box and get him closer to the line of scrimmage, and that unleashed what Tyrann is. He's a playmaker, right? He's not really he's not a great defensive back, but he's a great football player.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
Yeah, and if you can get those two in coverage against a speed guy, you got a chance. But I'm telling you, nobody talks about Kansas City's defense, but Kansas City's defense is in the top half of the NFL. I think personally.
Yeah, no, their defense, they were up until, outside of the Raiders games, I think they're only giving up 17 points a game. But if you go back the last couple seasons, the only times the Chiefs have been beaten is if somebody scores 40, 45, 50 points. And I get that people say, you keep Mahomes on the sideline and you want to run the ball and use the clock and try to, but Mahomes only needs 5 or 10 minutes to beat you. You saw that in the Texans game. They was down 24-0 in the second quarter, and they had the lead by halftime. So you just have to figure out a way to score a bunch of points.
Go back to that Texans game.
That's the key, and that's what the Raiders did in the first game. They scored 41 points and they won.
You make a great point. Go back to the Texans game. What play in that game was the turning point in that game?
Fake punting on fourth down.
Absolutely. And why did O'Brien do that?
Because he's a hack.
The drive before that, they started to go for a field goal, and now I think they were sort of 4th and inches, and they could have stuck a nail in the coffin then. I think that was a bigger play than
that's the Mahomes factor, because he gets you to do things that you shouldn't do, because you get this feeling that, oh shit, if we need to keep this possession, we need to keep this ball, or he's going to get it, and then you make a dumb play and turn the ball over inside your own 50-yard line, and the game's over. And they blow you out. I think that's what great players do. Yeah. That's that doesn't show up in the stats.
Yeah, I think we've done this sort of before. They potentially could have lost to the Titans, they could have lost to the Texans, they could have lost to the Niners. People are running them close, but you see, Mahomes is just closing out these games. So, but again, with a COVID-ravaged year, who knows? We might not even sort of get to a point where we see the best players playing. Let's hope that isn't the case, but we just don't know what's happening this year.
Don't say that, because all of the Niners are returning, so we're coming back, baby. Right, it's my favourite part of the show. We're going to pick some games, because I do like this, because we're going to get some lone wolves. John's dog might make an appearance if we start spouting crap and start barking again. I am going to lead off with the Bills-Niners game, Monday Night Football. Jeff, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
Boy, I tell you, you know, it's kind of really an unknown world, because I listened to Kyle's comments about, worrying about the mental health of his team, going on the road to play a home game, and I'm not I thought the Bills, and I said before the season I thought the Bills would win the AFC East, and I still think they will, but I'm not sold on the Bills. I really am not. They've got a lot of good football players, but I just don't know. San Francisco, when I watched them play the Rams, was like watching San Francisco of last year. When they get the ball to Deebo Samuel, when Juszczyk is making plays as he makes plays, when they run the football. But again, then you say, I always start when I talk about NFL games, compare the two quarterbacks, because that's where you got to start. And I think Josh Allen is significantly better than Nick Mullins. So I'm going to say the Bills will win it, but I think it's going to be a really close football game.
Hey, now don't forget, you've already had to get it once.
If anybody knows me, I do set myself up for the biggest falls, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And to be fair, Nick, I have been saying you are going to be the most scariest team if you can sneak into the playoffs in the back door, get all your players back fit. No one's going to want to play you. But just the fact you had all your Niners buddies on, I thought it was a perfect time to stick a fork in your team. But now I say, no, I wish I hadn't done it. I think the fact that Kyle Shanahan has now pretty much got what probably many coaches want, and that's having their team in a bubble. So he has now got all these guys there. He hasn't got to worry about outside stuff going on. All these players are there. They're all coming back fit. You guys can talk a little bit more about the Niners, but I just feel that the Niners are going to beat the Bills. I'm still not a bit like Jeff.
No. Do not pick the Niners, because you are a Jonah. Cut your mic off when you say the Niners.
I just think the Niners are a scary team, and they're just very, very hard to sort of to work out. And Jason has shown us on the screen before some of the plays that they come up with, and I just think the Bills are going to sort of find it hard to defend against some of these plays. And I just think the Niners get another sneaky win. I really do. I'm going with the Niners.
Right, John. So come early hours of Monday morning, if the Niners lose, his handle on Twitter. He has picked our Niners. So it's only fair that we roast him again, because he will put the kiss of death on anyone. He could bet on a one-horse race and still lose sometimes. That's how John, what are your thoughts?
I got the Niners. It's going to be – here's the thing. Can Nick Mullins beat the coverage? We can't run the ball for 4 quarters of football and expect to stay healthy in this push. Nick, we have to see if Nick Mullins can stay composed. That's his biggest problem. Nick Mullins is a mental player, so he just, like I said, he wears his faults on his sleeve, and that faults him moving forward. If the 49ers can establish the run game, dink and dunk, I say this every time, and Dion knows my theory on this. Dink and dunk, you get those positive yards, you get those short yards for positive gains, dominate the time of possession, and extend the runs. If you extend the runs, you dominate time of possession, and the Niners can take control of the football game, because Kyle Shanahan is good at doing it. Did he do that in the Super Bowl? I will always fault him for it, because I believe he failed miserably at clock management the first half of the Super Bowl. But like you said, it's behind us. So if Nick Mullins can keep the turnovers on a very low grade, we'll be all right, Nick. I believe we can win the game. It's not going to be by a blowout, because the secondary of Buffalo is tough. They've got playmakers. When they threw up that Hail Mary, there was nobody sleeping. You see, there were 3 defenders all the way around D-Hop, and they were just this
John,
much.
It's very funny that you bring that up, because I was going to sort of mention that, because this game's being played in State Farm, right? So it's the same stadium that obviously the last time they played, they literally got that play against them in the last minute and they had to walk off. Just out of interest, Coach, you might know this on the sort of mental side of the players. Are they going to remember that? Are they going to walk into that stadium and think, last time I was here, we got stung on the last game of the play? Are they going to go in there, and is it kind of one of them things that eats at them and they...
You know what? I think obviously they know what happened, right? They can't erase that from their memories, but I'm sure Sean will talk to them about it this week. They're not playing Arizona. They're playing San Francisco. And, John made a really good point. They got out-athleted at the point of attack. That's going to happen in football, right? That's the game. So because D-Hop made a great play, if you had been in the wrong coverage, if you didn't have people where they're supposed to be, but that's the game, guys. I mean, that's the game. That's why we say it's so hard to win every week. I think Buffalo is too mature for that. But again, what scares me about Buffalo is Buffalo plays what I call middle-aged man defense. And that means they're soft around the middle. And if you get after them, you can run the football inside on them. And that zone scheme that San Francisco runs is tailor-made for Buffalo, right? So I just really feel like this is going to be a hell of a football game.
Good shout. Scott, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, the 49ers, they are a scary team. I'm afraid I'm going to have to watch them play some week. It's going to be the only game that's on. So the Bills, like Jeff is saying, I'm not buying in on them, but they win when I think they're going to lose, and they lose when I think they're going to win. So I look at Josh Allen versus Nick Mullins. If you look at that game against the Rams last week, Jared Goff was absolutely terrible. He was abysmal in that game. I don't think you could play a quarterback worse than he played in a football game. So I'm going to take the Bills fairly comfortable, I think. Just based off, like I said, it's Josh Allen versus Nick Mullins, in my opinion.
Yeah. Carl, you might be able to answer this one. Obviously, if the Dolphins end up beating the Bengals this week, which they probably will, and then obviously you've got the Bills potentially losing, you could have the Dolphins. What's the? Obviously they're both beyond 8-4, I believe. Who's got the leader? Who will go top? Do you know in your division yet?
I think at the minute Buffalo are on 8-3. The Dolphins are on 7-4.
Yeah, exactly. So if the Dolphins win and the Bills lose, obviously, when we ever saw that one coming, the Dolphins being right where they were. But if that's the case, who's got the tie on the minute on them two teams? Do you know?
I think Buffalo have beaten Miami in the first head-to-head.
Yeah,
we have Buffalo beaten us, but we have the tiebreaker over Miami. Going back to this 49ers Bills game. I am sticking my neck on the line here and saying the 49ers will win. That Buffalo defense, it was meant to be going into the season. It was meant to be a top 5 defense going into the game. Over the course of the season, it hasn't panned out that way. They have given up so much yardage and so many points in so many games now. This team can be had on the right given day. And if the 49ers, and as Jeff pointed out, if they run the ball really well with Raheem Mostert and Telvin Coleman and Jeff Wilson, this Buffalo team are going to have problems with the 49ers. And I believe that's what will be the case. It'll be down to the running game.
Dion, what's your call on this one, buddy?
I'm going with the 49ers. And I'll tell you why. You have Kyle Shanahan is big on continuity. And we're starting to get there. We're building continuity because the players are coming back. Everyone's going to be healthy. You have no idea what we're going to do with Bo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Kendrick Bourne, Jordan Reed, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. You don't know what we're going to do with all of those guys. And we can still run a 2 tight end set with Dwelly and Jordan Reed. So you have to think about it. The offensive game plan we must be able to take it to them. And the Bills are trash against the run. What do we do well? Run the ball. If you have Raheem running all over that defense, do you think we're going to care about throwing the ball? Probably not. But will we? Oh, yes, we will. And it's not going to be just Raheem. You can imagine a double jet sweep with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Deebo runs like a running back. And then Ayuk, he's too hard to take down. So, I mean, I'm giving you all the facts. It will be, I'm probably going to roll with Callie Young here, probably about 24-20, but the 49ers will win. It's going to be close because you have to respect Buffalo's defense and their defensive line because they've got a bunch of different stars there. You've got so many different people on that line that have at least 2 sacks. So they're rotating guys in and out, and McDermott is a good coach. You know, the other thing is Josh Allen, though he likes to run, he likes to fumble. And we like to tomahawk chop arms and get the ball out. So I'm not worried, but I'm not worried in the least bit about Devin Singletary. That's scared. You could have put Frank Gore out there and I'd have been more scared. And I mean that wholeheartedly because Frank is still a hard runner. But, I mean, you only have to stop Stephon Diggs. Why would I be worried about Cole Beasley of all people unless they're doing a trick play? I'm sorry, Cole Beasley is nothing to be worried about. And I don't even know who their tight end is.
Oh, Beasley is having a good season. Don't sleep on Beasley.
Look, man, come on, man, please, bro. You gonna tell me my defense be worried about Cole Beasley of all people? No.
In fantasy, maybe, but not in the real game. In fantasy, maybe, but not in the real game.
Exactly. Not in the real game.
Nick, what are you saying?
I think Buffalo Bills are going to win by a blowout. Am I fucked?
It looks like you're in Buffalo, mate. You've got that breath coming out of your mouth. Are you sure you're not in Buffalo at the minute, mate?
I feel like it, but there's no lake effect snow outside. Apparently, defense last week for the Niners absolutely stepped up. They made Jared Goff look like Jared Goff that everybody thought he was going to be coming into the NFL. I said last week on the show, and I also said when I won nothing but Niners pre-game, the defense seems better this year. I know she's going to sound silly, without D Ford and both, because they are setting the edges. They're not over pursuing. And that was always the thing last year, that they over pursue and then the play goes right past them and then they're too far behind them to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I thought they played very controlled defense last week. My man, 99, got his first touchdown. And I thought he was going to fumble the ball as he went over the goal line. I did have a few fits.
It broke the plane. That's all we needed. It broke the plane.
But I don't know whether he was doing a swallow dive or what, or he just, I don't know. I mean, he ran 10 yards and had to have the old oxygen on the sideline, which was a bit worrying. I think that was more adrenaline than obviously being bushed. But yeah, defense for me this week, going to come up big. They, again, like Dion said, he loves a run, but he doesn't secure the ball when he runs. We saw Jimmy Ward, 2 forced fumbles last week. We've got the Yak brothers back for the first time, I believe, all year. I want to see Big Dick Nick this week, not GTFO. I know you're watching.
You're taking some of my satire away, are you?
I'm telling you now, we are going to see short, intermediate stuff. We're going to see jet sweeps. And I honestly think this could end up like the Carolina game last year, right? Last year, where the defense had no idea what Shanahan was doing. I'm not saying we're putting up 55 points or anything like that, but I think they're going to confuse the hell out of McDermott and his defense. And I'm going for a 7-point win, and it's going to be the Niners. And we just roll on. I'm not saying we're going to win it all. I'm not, I'm being a realist. If we get to the first if we get to the wild cards and we lose, I'd much rather that than go in the tank for a better draft pick, because everyone's, Carl's got to get a quarterback. Forget it. He's probably going to get a defensive back, or he's going to get a lineman or something like that. That's not how they draft in San Francisco. So I don't think, if we're in the top 20, that's fine. But yeah, no, Niners for me. definitely on this one.
Interesting what you were saying there, Nick, about Jared Goff. Coach, am I right in thinking you recently did a interview with McVay talking about the Rams QB? Was that right?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually going to break down the game last week for the viewers on Sky, and I'm going to show why he's so frustrated with Goff, because there were a couple situations. First of all, people, if you're handing out game balls last week in San Francisco, you'd give it to their secondary because they played man-to-man coverage really, really well. I mean, Woods, Kupp, they completely took Cooper Kupp out of the game, in my opinion. Now, there were some things that McVay did to simplify the looks that Goff was going to have to throw into, particularly when they got off schedule, because he really struggles when he doesn't have the ability to use play action. When he has to drop back and beat you from the pocket, he struggles. And there's one play in particular where they're going down. I think this was right at the end of the half. You guys would probably remember it better than me, but they're going down. They're in scoring. They're in the scoring zone. There's like 34 seconds left in the half. And they go to an empty formation because he's trying to clean up the picture for his quarterback. One of the reasons people go empty is it spreads the defense, and now the quarterback gets much easier to read. And he's got a double move on one side against Richard Sherman, because Sherman, you can get Sherman because he wants to always look in the backfield, right? So teams are going to give him double moves all the time. And he's been able to get away with it in the past because he was faster. And he's got that long body, and it's hard to get the ball over the top of him. It's still tough to beat him because he's a really smart player. But McVay had schemed a double move on one side, and against the other side, he had a cover two beater, right? So I'm sure what he told him is, if you get single high, work the double move against Sherman and take a shot, because they were on the red. They were at what we call the high red, where they're in field goal range. But there's 30 seconds left. They're going to take a shot in the end zone, see if they can get a score before the half. And so he builds a formation that makes the read really simple. I mean, I could teach any sixth grader to do it, right? If there's one guy in the middle of the field, throw here. If there's two guys up there, go here. And he tried to get the double move. It wasn't there. The protection started to break down. He started to scramble. Ball got knocked out, and there was a turnover right before the half where they could have the two things you say to a quarterback in that situation: you can't turn it over and you can't take a sack, because we're in the scoring zone. And he did. I mean, it was mind-blowing, really, that a guy at the professional level couldn't process to that extent. And it's right there on tape for everybody to see.
Just let everyone know, Coach, how are we going to be able to get to see this? Is this Sunday on Sky? Is this what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll do it before the game on Sky. So because we're going to do Arizona and the Rams in the game, and there's that play, and then I've got another play in the game where, he struggles against too high coverage. I mean, of his interceptions this year, 60% of them have come against too high coverage, because he can't. There's no play action for him to use. If you beat the Rams, this is what San Francisco did. Saleh played single high on first down so he could get an extra guy in the box for the run, right? Then as soon as he got him to second and long and third and long, he played too deep, and the game was over with. And they played two-man because they weren't worried about Goff scrambling around. And their DBs just plastered the secondary. I mean, the receivers from LA. So, if they won't be a playoff team unless he plays better, and he's got to do the simple things, right?
Yes, the rumor has it that obviously McVay is in the headset right up until the 15 seconds where cuts out and got helmet. Do you think that's a hindrance? Because he's obviously saying to him, I don't know, like you were just saying about it's too high safety, it's this, it's that. Do you think that kind of scrambled his head a bit, and he then at certain points he goes in there and he really doesn't see these things?
I don't, it's hard. That's a great take. I don't know, because I don't, again, that would be something that I didn't talk to Jared about it, right? But I know that Sean really does try and play quarterback from the sideline. All signal callers do to a certain degree, but there comes a point where that's too much noise in your mind, right? And maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what's causing. Because I'm telling you, Nick, it is not hard what they're asking him to do, right? Because if he just goes to the side where they got the 2-beater, he's got a completion for about 6 yards, and the guy will step out of bounds because San Francisco did a great job of playing from top down in the secondary. And, then he's got a easy field goal situation at the end of the half, and they go out and they're, I don't know what they were ahead by 6 or something at the half. I don't know. But, then you got momentum. I mean, those kinds of plays. In coaching, we talk about playing what we call the middle 4. Okay, because you talk about 2 minute, and there's another thing we call is the middle 4. The middle 4 is the last 2 minutes of the first half and the first 2 minutes of the second half. You want to play well in the middle 4. You can't make turnover. You can't, especially when you're in the scoring zone. You can't turn the ball over in the last 2 minutes of a half. It absolutely crushes your momentum going into halftime.
Definitely.
So was it, Coach? Were you the only one that chose the Buffalo Bills in that game? Just out of interest.
I think I am. And again, I'm not.
I think Scott.
Unless I was playing with Dion's money, I wouldn't be betting this one. But I know Dion's got a lot of cheddar around his house, so he could spot me 100.
Look, man, Coach. Hey, I got you. Don't worry about nothing.
Hey, fellas, I got to run, man. It's been great doing this. Look forward to next week.
Excellent, yeah. Coach. Thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you on Sky on Sunday.
All right, guys.
Take care.
Cheers, Jeff. Bye.
There you go, Jeff Reinbold. And if you don't know who he is one of the lead people on Sky Sports NFL. He also is the special teams coordinator for the Hamilton T-Cats, and I think he's got a couple of rings in the CFL. He coached at Kansas City as well under Dick Vermeil, so he knows his stuff. And as Pete knows, we are, every time he comes on, even if for 5 minutes, we appreciate everything Jeff has done for us from the beginning. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw about a month ago, possibly, he actually brought Mike Singletary on the show, which was really, really cool. He was out doing an event, a coaching event, I think, like Last Chance You or Undrafted or something like that for the NFL. And he literally hopped on for 5 minutes. And I said, have you got anyone famous that you can just grab to say hello? And he went, I've got a very special one. And there he was. He brought Mike Singletary on, which was
you were
crazy.
Stoked, mate, and you were absolutely buzzing, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. He's such a down-to-earth guy as well. That's the good thing, and that's why he is the NFL UK MVP this year, because he's done so much for the NFL in the UK, and he goes on lots of shows like ours to help people out, get them going, get them established, and he knows his stuff, right? So it's just an honour and a privilege every time we have Jeff on. Right, let's do a couple of shitty games, because one-word answers. And I know no one is going to pick the Jets against the Raiders.
Nah, Raiders to me. Except
me, because I will never pick the Raiders. I don't give a shit who they play. So I'm going to pick the Jets to win this one. And I am on my own, I know. So, and I don't care. Because I will.
Be better. The Raiders stunk the place out last week against the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, what?
Yeah.
Jesus, what went on against the Falcons? Holy Christ, that was a surprise.
I don't know. The Falcons burnt me again. Fucking Falcons, man. They burn me every week.
Well, stop counting on them.
I have.
Falcons to win shit.
You know exactly what's going to happen this week. I've gone with the Saints, and the fucking Falcons will go and win again. Fuckers.
Well, you got to remember the NFC South is like one of the most competitive divisions in football, and they rotate winners almost every damn year.
Yeah.
Usually, they usually do, and they know each other's weaknesses and strengths very well, which is why you see obviously why the Raiders have played the Chiefs so well. They play them twice a year. They see Patrick Mahomes all the time, so there's no reason why they shouldn't know what to do. But Nick, you're not alone. I'll take the Jets too. Damn it, I'll take the Jets to go ahead.
Hell yeah.
I'll take the Jets because here's the thing: with the way that the Raiders are starting to stink up the joint, it's gonna fall off. You gave John Gruden all that money, and he ain't gonna bring you nothing. You're gonna have 10 years of no Super Bowl. Mark my words. I'll take the Jets.
I respect your decision, but I question your sanity.
Oh, I don't have any. Yeah, I'm completely.
It's a Bay Area thing.
And these guys are hardcore. They're not going to be choosing the Raiders for fucking nothing.
Fuck no. Titans Browns. Now, who would have thought this time last year, or maybe even the year before, the Browns would be sitting where they are? Titans rumble on, they're the Titans, but are the Browns for real? Are they still under the radar? Pete, who are you picking in this game?
Mate, I'm going with the Titans all day long. The Browns have not been good. They have not been good at all. Unless Baker Mayfield can run a bootleg out and throw a pass, he cannot stand in the pocket. Their run game is legit, but they can't rely on that. They've only just beaten the Jags. The Raiders beat them. The Texans only just got beat by them the other time. If there's a team that doesn't deserve to be where they are, it's the Browns. It ain't the Steelers, I'm telling you now. And the Titans are going to smash them up big time. And that is for all the Cleveland fans that have been giving me shit for the last 2 weeks. Fucking Titans, let's go! Smash them brownies!
Carl, after that rousing monologue, you know that's deemed to fail. Carl.
Everything that he said is just being reversed. And the only reason why I say that is, yes, we talk about the schedule, but the Browns haven't exactly had a hard schedule either. They've had a roughly round about the same as the Steelers. So I'm not getting carried away for the Browns either.
Exactly.
But I'm still picking them to beat Tennessee.
Scott?
Hey, for the record, that last pick, I thought you said it was the Ravens versus the Jets. I'm not picking the Raiders ever either. So I'm changing my pick back to the Jets.
So have we got split?
Seaside shop going on. But
I'll never pick the Raiders.
I can't believe I loaned Wolf. And now everyone's jumping ship. Crazy.
Not everyone.
Piss off, then. Piss off.
Sorry, Titans, Browns.
Probably the Titans. Derrick Henry looks like he's in his December groove, his December mode, where he just absolutely starts annihilating teams single-handedly the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. The Browns, Baker Mayfield's one of these up and down wild. To me, he kind of reminds me, not necessarily with his style of play, but he kind of reminds me of Jared Goff, where he has these really good games, and then he has these games where he just looks terrible. I'm going to go with the Titans.
Yeah, unlucky Brown.
King Henry with another nasty stiff arm to one of the Browns defenders.
I hope he does many a stiff arm to most of the Browns defenders. That would be great.
Yeah, I'm looking for another nasty, just Josh Norman type stiff arm from King Henry.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
I take it that means you're taking the Titans deal.
Tennessee, baby.
John, talk to me.
Both teams have phenomenal running game. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Stefanski runs that running game similar to the way Shanahan. Actually, sometimes they look just the same. But the Browns lack a secondary. So Brown and Henry are probably going to get a game. There's a good chance I take the Titans.
Nick, just before you go on, I just want to put a message that Ivan, our good friend, has put up. Baker hasn't statistically been terrible for weeks. No, he's very right. He's been statistically terrible for years. Well done.
As I always say about Baker Mayfield, Stop fucking with aggressive and play football.
Hey, Steven always says this every time. The man's got more commercials than he does wins.
Yep. I agree.
I'm going with the Titans. I think Derrick Henry, he's got an average of 114.3 yards per game this season, which for him this is normally his time where he actually starts playing. End of November, beginning of December. You don't normally see him at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's the Derrick Henry show. I honestly
before we go on, we're talking about stiff arms. I want to know, how come when Derrick Henry stiff arms somebody or someone on the Steelers stiff arms somebody, it's a highlight reel and it's, oh my God, he destroyed that defender. There's been twice this season where the Chiefs stiff armed a player and they got called for a freaking face mask penalty.
Because they probably grabbed the face mask.
Ever? Give me a freaking break, man.
Well, you probably grabbed the face mask.
Crazy.
Lots of times with stiff arms, this is what I've seen. Lots of times with stiff arms, when it comes from the offensive to the defensive guys, usually there is a little bit of a grab of the face mask. The one thing that I can tell you is you just have to make sure you don't get caught. Like what happened with Derrick Henry to Josh Norman, the thing was he caught Josh Norman in the shoulder. So that's why that stiff arm was a highlight. So we ain't going to highlight you if you get a penalty on it. That's just it.
Yeah, but why was he leading with his shoulder?
Yeah,
if you get him, I've seen 100 stiff arms on the face mask, never called.
Well, that's because it's Kansas City. You guys are already winning. You don't need to win anymore.
Yeah,
Good point, exactly.
Yeah, call penalty every single time. I want to make you lose a game. Sorry, I keep having flashbacks of the Super Bowl. It's like I'm a war-torn veteran. It's just you say
it brings out his homicidal tendencies all of a sudden.
See, you get me. This is Carl,
I'm pretty sure your girlfriend's just come in because she wants to hear you lone wolfing, dude.
You're probably thinking, what the fucking hell is that?
Yeah.
One thing about Baker Mayfield, if he's that fucking good at sorting his house out, he can come around and sort my fucking garage out because it needs sorting. Baker, get up lane over here, sort this shit out.
Well, as long as he wakes up on the sideline this week.
Jags Vikings, in a word, Pete. Who are you going for?
Vikings. Jags have looked good though, but recently, and they're playing for the coach now. GM's gone, playing for the coach, but I still think the Vikings have enough. I'll go Vikings.
Carl?
Vikings to win. I think it's not too long before the bologna sandwich is out of a job.
John?
Vikings.
Dion?
Because we need this and we need the playoff hopes. Go Jags. We need this. We need them to start losing because they're above us in the playoff race. Okay? So I'm a Jags fan for right now. I want them to win. I want them to beat Kirk Cousins and expose the trash quarterback that he is. Why everyone is so in love with the worthless guy who just took the NFL and made millions. I'm going to stop because I'll go on forever.
Bearing that in mind, we always give shit for Kirk Cousins about his record of over 500 teams he keeps losing to. Matthew Stafford has got a record considerably worse than him.
Yeah, I told you I called him Brokeback Stafford.
Dion, have you been taking substances along with Will Fuller because you've just chosen the Jets and the Jags?
Look, man, I chose the Jets, like I said, because I don't want the Raiders to win shit. I hope that franchise implodes in any way, shape, and form. And then at the same time, I chose the Jags because I just gave you the reasoning why. We need to get in the damn playoffs. And if the Vikings get the hell out of the way, we can start sliding upward.
Scott.
All right, I got Vikings.
Okay. I am with Dion only purely because of as he says, the 49ers playoff implications. Jags have actually got to win a game at some point. I know they 1-10, so they've got to win another one. I'm also with him about Cousins. He's Sam Bradford too, except Bradford didn't have an arm, but he couldn't fucking stay healthy. And that dude raped the NFL of millions and millions and millions.
Oh, yeah.
And
Over 100 million.
I want his agent. You know why? Sam Bradford came in before the new CBA started for the rookies. Sam Bradford off rip got $63 million. Then every other contract that man has gotten in his career has been in the double digits. And how the hell you get that kind of money if you're not a winner, I don't know. But whoever his agent is, very fantastic.
His agent would have gone to the next team. Yeah, honestly, he's in the best shape of his life. He'll never get injured. He's fine. He can do this, that, and the other. First game in, bang, injury, but still pay $50 million. Thank you very much.
He'll make it to 8 games at a bare minimum. That's his limit, 8. And then after that,
I don't know at the moment who's playing the QB, whether it's still Luton or whether
I think it's Glennon. I think it's
still Mike Glennon.
Yeah, they're sticking with Glennon.
Glennon.
We all know what that was like.
I think I've been drinking the same stuff as you.
I'm not being funny. Glennon could have run that ball in at the end to beat the Browns last week, and for some reason he decided to go backwards instead of forward. But he could have done that, and he could have took them down. And so annoying.
John, Bradford made $130 million in his career.
Can you believe it? He robbed.
Take a bow. Whoever was getting in the contracts.
I'm telling you, whoever his, I'm about to look it up, damn it. Hold on, let me find his agent.
You know what? Even getting
we need to give a special shout out.
Every contract. That is crazy. Crazy. So,
next game up, Nick.
We have all chose that one. So me and Dion have gone for the Jags. Everyone else has gone for the Vikes. Bungles versus Dolphins. I think. Is anyone else picking the Bungles, or we all agreed with the Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Wavering.
Oh, Carl, don't do it. Don't do it, Carl.
On the edge.
We all know you don't want the Dolphins to win. We understand that. But are you going with your heart or your head?
I'm going with my head. I'll go with the Dolphins. The Bungles are not winning another game now all season.
And that face, going back to last week's show, Carl, is that the face you saw your mum making that sex tape you were talking about?
No.
No.
Sorry,
God,
flashbacks to last week. Pete wasn't in on that.
No.
I own my own house. Why would I still be living with my parents? I'm nearly 30 years of age.
Well, you said you were talking about finding a sex tape and comparing that to a game last week.
It was a metaphor. Come on.
Carl, he's never going to let you live it down.
Of course he ain't.
Nor's his parents if they ever watch this video.
We've all seen that sex tape. Carl, can you give your mum my number, please?
He has got a 1 in his number, I think. Colts Texans. John, who you got?
Ooh.
I'll take the Colts. I'll take the Colts.
Dion?
Mr. Buckner is back, and he's off the COVID list. Colts.
Scott?
Yeah, the Colts, it's hard to tell with that defense. The Green Bay kind of lit them up a little bit, but Green Bay's pretty good offensive football team. So, yeah, I'll lean the Colts as well.
Carl?
Yeah, as John said, DeForest Buckner is back. But they've lost one of their key receivers now, Will Fuller, because he's a stupid idiot, frankly. Yeah, I'm taking the Colts.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. I think the wide receiver core in Houston's just taken a massive pounding. Makes a change at not being the Steelers getting done for substance abuse, so I'm going for the Colts.
There's still time, Pete. There's still time. Yeah, I'm taking the Colts as well. Oh, what a snooze fest we have at 6 p.m. our time of the next game. Lions, Bears. Yeah, I don't know what to say about either of these two teams.
Toilet bowl.
I know I certainly won't be watching it. And I think Stafford has a bounce back game. I'm picking the Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bears. I know obviously the coach has gone at the Lions, Patricia's gone, but I still don't think that they're gonna perform. It's the lesser of two evils, but I just think the Bears are just gonna have enough. I'm going with Bears. Oh.
Trubisky is kind of. We need the Bears to lose. So, the Bears are playing for their coach. I think he's fired if he loses to the Lions. So, I'm going for the Lions. Detroit. They don't have Hakeem Nicks either. So, yeah.
Carl?
Never ever bet against a team that has just bet against a team that has just fired their head coach, because they'll come bouncing back the next game. There always seems to be that sort of familiarity. They play absolutely crap. They fire their GM or fire their head coach. All of a sudden, next game, bang, they just switch it on. So I'm taking the Lions to beat the Bears.
Good shout. Dion.
Now, Nick, John B, you said we need the Bears to lose? Oh, for the playoff race, huh?
Yeah.
We do. But yeah, I have to go. For me, Carl actually stole my point. We're communicating telepathically. He's Professor X, and I'm just, I guess, a random black guy. We'll throw that out there. I don't really know who the fuck. My bad. If we're going Marvel, I'm Black Panther. It took me a second to gather that. I told you.
You've got the two. You call me Professor X. That's from X-Men. That's completely the wrong sort.
Okay, you look like the new one. You do look like the new Professor X. What was his name? I can't remember his name.
Guy.
The guy that played in
I know the guy you're on about. I'm just trying to think.
I can't remember his name, but
yeah. It'll come back into my mind.
There's a bit of resemblance there.
But basically, yes, I would say that it is a situation where you fire the coach, and for some ungodly reason they seem to win. So I'm gonna go with the Lions on this one. And Tom Condon was Sam Bradford's agent. So if any of us ever have a friend that goes into the NFL, let's tell them to get Tom Condon as their agent, because no matter how much they're injured, he'll get you millions of dollars.
Tom Condon's at the bottom of a lake somewhere now.
It's probably because he got Sam Bradford all that damn money.
Damn right, brother. Damn right.
All the owners chased him up and put a hit on him because he ripped them off.
He ripped them off bad. My God, 130 million, gentlemen.
Crazy. Were there any lone wolves in that story?
Scott's
in the background, so I had to go and get rid of her.
We're just waiting for Scott. Scott, what's your pick, man?
I'm going to pick the Lions. This is a Matthew Stafford special. Pad his stats, have a huge game against a crappy team. The Bears are they're in disarray. They're sinking ship. They're crashing down to earth after that miraculous 5-0 start that they had somehow. And like Carl said, you get that rally the troops now that the coach is gone, element going along with all that, and I think the Lions win pretty easily.
Okay. I think that means you were the only one to pick the Bears, were you?
I was the only one that picked the Bears, I believe. Yeah.
Gotta love a lone wolf. Saints, Falcons. I'll lead this one off. I'm still not really convinced by the Saints, I have to say. Obviously, Drew Brees is still out. Taysom Hill's in. I think Matty Ice brings his game, and I can see him sneaking this one. It is at the Falcons Stadium, but I'm going for the Falcons. Pete.
Yeah, Falcons keep screwing me over week in, week out, whether I pick them or don't pick them. And I just think the Saints have just got too many weapons as well. and I just know full well if I pick the Falcons, they'll get absolutely blown out. So I'm going with the Saints. Sorry, Falcons fans.
Carl?
After what I saw against the Raiders, the Falcons put up one hell of a good performance. The only problem was, though, the Raiders are a very, very penalised team, and the Saints are not a very penalised team. They won't put themselves in stupid positions like this. But I'm going to edge the Falcons by 3.
John?
Hard to bet against Julio Jones. But I think the Saints take this one, man. They've got too many playmakers.
Yeah.
Dion?
I got to roll with my mama's team, New Orleans Saints.
Scott?
Yeah, the Saints, their defense has been phenomenal the last few weeks. I mean, they've just been crushing teams. I mean, they got to play the Broncos with no quarterback. They had a practice squad.
That was way too easy.
They had a practice squad wide receiver playing quarterback last week for the Broncos, which, if you all know me by now, I was loving every minute of that. I don't know what's better, when the Raiders suck or when the Broncos suck. Maybe when they both suck is the best. But, yeah, the Saints, I think they held the Falcons to 6 points the last time they played them. The Taysom Hill thing seems weird, but it seems to be working. I think Alvin Kamara, I don't know if he's got a foot issue, if this injury is – they've been using Murray more the last couple of games, which
don't say that, please.
I don't know where that's coming from exactly, but I think the Saints are going to win this one. They got a lot to play for. They're still in the driver's seat for the 1 seed in the playoffs. They're the better team, so I'm going to roll Saints as well.
Okay, so we got 2.
Nick,
2.
I
2. Sorry, Pete, go on.
was just going to say, I may be getting a call in a minute, so if you want to jump on the Steelers game next.
No, we're going to leave that shit till last. All right, we'll do the Steelers game. We're going to do the Steelers game now, okay? Washington, all day, the Steelers. Never pick the Steelers.
Carl?
I don't give a shit who they play.
Carl, what are you saying?
Alex Smith.
Skins. Oh, shit. Sorry. I just sorry. Yeah, I'm going to take the football team.
You ain't offending nobody here by saying that. I just want you to understand. I don't think any of us are unfortunately Native American.
No, we're good.
I am. What are you talking about, Dion? Do you not see that? I'm a Native American? No.
It looks like you're in some shit built by Native Americans, but
quite possibly, Dion. Quite possibly.
Nick, are you held captive in a teepee? What the hell's going on?
Right, man. Look, this is taking 4. And then we gotta go get Nick.
It's my fantastically built garage that's very, very cold at the moment.
Man, your breath, you look like it's getting colder and colder.
Torture dungeon. But trust me, there is, in fact, let me just get out of the way and you'll see how much crap is in here. Look at that one. Look.
It's like
full. If something wants to get thrown away, I try to throw it away. I'm not allowed to. It gets dumped in this fucking place.
Hence why you're in the garage, mate, because you've been throwing out by the missus.
I'd rather just go in the skip, but hey ho.
John, tell us about the Washington Steelers game. Who you got?
Man. I think you guys pull it out. I think you guys go 12-0. Unfortunately, I fear for Alex Smith. This game, I cringe every time he plays, man. I get scared for him. But Chase Young is brutal, man. And I don't know. They got a hell of a pass rush. So as long as the Steelers can get rid of the ball before Chase Young gets to Roethlisberger, then you guys are good to go. I don't see much of a secondary threat there. So you guys should pretty much go 12-0.
Dion?
Steelers.
Good man. Scott?
Are you guys playing the Washington football team or the Washington high school football team this week?
Well, I'm sure there'll be sort of some reason for someone to sort of moan that it's not the full team, or it's not the starting quarterback, or fucking hell, lightning storms are ahead and to sort of ruin the game. There's always some bullshit excuse that everyone is giving that the Steelers are winning for another reason other than the fact that they're actually legit.
No, I think the Steelers are going to win. They got a loss or two coming, but I don't see it. Washington, they got that running back. They got Gibson, looks pretty good. I mean, he's been playing really well the last few weeks. They've got some pieces, but they're still in the building phase on that team.
Agreed.
So while they're up and coming, I don't think they're there yet. I hate to say it, but I think the Steelers get to 12-0.
Do you start everybody this game? Do you risk any injury versus the Washington football team?
Yes, you
logically.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be playing. We'll be playing everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing Alex Highsmith taking over from Bud Dupree this week. As what you were saying there, John, the ball's got to come out of Big Ben's hands quick, which it has done all season to avoid Chase Young.
Yeah.
I think the receivers get an absolute bollocking in the team meeting room this week because they were dropping catches, which would sort of put right on their numbers. There's no excuse for it. It's a close game. I said to Nick, if there's ever a person and ever a team that deserves a win to knock off an undefeated team, I'd love it to be the Washington football team, but I feel that they just come up a little bit too short. The Steelers, again, just do enough what they've done all season to win this game, and they carry on 12-0. Steelers.
Telling you now, Chase Young's shirt after this game is going to be covered in Rohypnol from both of Big Ben's throwing gloves. He's going to be all fucking game. Kicks his ass.
Well, he probably will be put to sleep in the game, but it will be by the offensive line putting him to sleep, not Big Ben.
Is going to be exposed by that line this week. They may not win, but trust me, they're going to expose some weaknesses in the pitch.
Oh, they're good, no doubt about it.
It's going to be a good game. It really is. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a tough game, but I just think
it's going to be a good game. And I'll end up 6-3 with field goals and nothing else, but we'll see. Right, Giants, Seahawks. Giants, fuck the Seahawks, fuck the 12s, fuck Pete Carroll, fuck all of that. Pete?
Giants are putting some scores together, but the Seahawks are still a better team. Their defense is starting to sort of get a little bit better, which has got to be a little bit worrying for everybody in your division. I still think Seattle take this one, and they take it quite comfortably.
Oh.
New Giants don't have Danny Derps. He's out injured. They got Colt McCoy in now under center. Last couple of games, the Seattle defense has started to show up all of a sudden. I got to take Seattle in this game.
Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah, Seahawks. The Giants are just abysmal, and the Seahawks, it does look like maybe their defense has turned a corner. It's hard to tell if that's from the competition or from the Seahawks themselves. But I'm kind of expecting Russell Wilson to get back more into the MVP conversation these last few games against some suspect competition, and I think they win fairly handily.
Leon?
Carl, did you just say Colt fucking McCoy is starting?
Yes, I did.
Is that confirmed? Because he was Daniel Jones, when I saw yesterday or today, he wasn't out. He was doubtful.
I don't want to ever pick the Seahawks to do anything. I want them to fall off fucking cliff. But Colt McCoy? Really? Man, fuck it. I'm going with the Giants. Yeah, I'm going with the Giants. I can't do that.
Now, listen,
I can't.
We mentioned the Seahawks, and John's dog is fucking losing it in the back.
I'm telling you, she hates the fucking
No, he's like some bullshit.
Classic.
Yeah, I wanted so bad to beat the Giants and know that Danny Dimes was going to be dropping dimes, but with him out, the realistic thing is unfortunately the other side of the ball. But I can't pick them. Screw that, Giants.
Daniel Jones is
McCoy
doubtful.
has a spectacular game.
Daniel Jones is doubtful.
No, Giants. Yeah, if he's doubtful, he's playing. If you're doubtful or questionable, you're playing.
If it's questionable, you're playing. If it's doubtful, you're not.
His ass gonna play. You better.
No, Jones saying I don't think Jones will, but
We'll
it may be
see.
game time. It may be a game time decision. I don't know.
John.
I fucking hate the Seahawks and everything they're made of. I hate them all, every goddamn one of them. I hope Colt McCoy destroys that secondary with something special. Upset of the year. My God, I would love it. Yeah, Pete Carroll gets lockjaw, can't coach. Definitely. Definitely.
Wow.
See, people should know this by now that tune into the show. The Niners fans are never, ever going to pick the fucking Seahawks.
Fuck. Never.
Never.
Rotten hell. Drown in the Seattle rain. Get the hell out of here, bro.
There you go. And I might even have to change Pete's head on that potato next week for the 12s or something to stab them motherfuckers as well, because I can't stand stadium. I can't stand anything about Seattle, especially the highlighter uniforms. Hate them. Anyway, that's enough of them shit hawks. Another interesting game this week, especially in our division, Rams-Cardinals. Cardinals hit and miss few games. Everyone saw what the Niners did to the Rams. Kyler Murray, I think, has been unfit for the last at least game and a half, and I think it has affected the way he's played. Are the Rams going to be that bad 2 weeks in a row? Is Goff going to be that bad 2 weeks in a row? Cardinals defense isn't that great. I'm split on this one, but I'm going to have to side, unfortunately, with the Rams. Pete?
Yeah, I think the Rams are wounded, and so are Zona. But I just think Zona just do enough to win this one. I'm going with the Cards.
Very interesting fact before you, sorry, Pete, to butt in. The Rams are 6-0 versus Arizona in the McVay era since 2017, which I found quite an amazing stat.
I'm going to the Rams.
I'm going with the Rams as well, only because I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to push the pocket and cause Goff any problems. So I'm taking the Rams.
John?
We swept the Rams, and we need the Cards to lose to the Rams, right?
Yes.
So I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking the Rams. I don't think they can stop Aaron Donald.
Theo?
I just wanted to point out here, Pete, this guy Ivan has been saying that Baker is statistically the best quarterback in the AFC North according to QBR.
Yeah, he likes this QBR.
But QBR is the most misleading stat in the NFL.
Exactly. For me, I'd like him to tie. Damn it, tie. So neither one of you gets a damn win. I don't want anybody in that division to win except for us. Realistically, due to the playoff situation, yes, we're gonna have to take the Rams, I guess, for our.
It's hard to say it. It's hard to say it, man. But we need them to win.
If they tie, I'd be happy with that too. I'm okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, all four members of the NFC West could end up in the playoffs, and it's still realistic.
Yeah, but I only want at least two. It's probably going to be us. It's going to be us in either Seattle or LA. I don't see the Cards doing it. I see them winding up falling off, only strictly based on the fact that Kyler Murray's dwindling and that defense does not have Chandler Jones. That's the thing that they are missing. You can have Buda Baker, you can have Patrick Peterson, but Chandler Jones is your key piece. He is the main one that fuels that defense, and he is a sack master. Having Chandler Jones is like having Aaron Donald. You know they're going to get to the quarterback.
Definitely.
Well, sorry, dear. Just put it in perspective here. If you cheer for the Rams to beat Arizona, Rams will go another game ahead of Arizona, and you'll end up tying Arizona. Here's the thing you're also missing though. If you choose Arizona to beat the Rams, they both go to 7-5. The Rams then have an early Thursday night game against the Patriots. That could easily, the Rams could fall 2 games back already, and the 49ers could still catch up with them and the Cardinals. There's a catch-22 here. What decision you make?
Yeah, very much so. That's why I said just tie.
Tell you what you need to worry about is you need to worry about your own games and not the other teams. Just keep winning your games, and that's all that matters.
And plus,
there you go.
Patriots, so we don't need to worry about that. Scott.
Yeah, the Rams are not a good team. They most of their wins are against the NFC East. They lost to the 49ers. I mean, they are not good. These guys, Jared Goff, I can't even explain how poor of a game that guy had this last game. I mean, he was just an embarrassment to the position of quarterback in the NFL. The Cardinals got Hopkins. They got Murray. Kenyon Drake is playing pretty well. They should win that game pretty easily, I think. Cardinals.
Okay. Right. Patriots, Chargers. This is your team, Carl.
Yep.
I know you've been going through some pain on this show all season.
I have. No question about that.
Me and Pete have given it to you because the Patriots suck. How are they going to do against the Chargers?
Belichick's record against first-year rookie quarterbacks is pretty impressive. I think it's only 25-5. If the offense can get even be competent, we'll have this game. What we saw last week from the defense against the Cardinals was outstanding. Stephon Gilmore returned back to his Pro Bowl form, only holding D-Hop to free catch for 25 yards. That's outstanding. You took away your first man. This is why I said last week, Larry Fitzgerald may be an aging guy, but he's the guy that can play the slant route pretty easily. And Kyler Murray was just all over the place in that game. But then again, so was Cam Newton. He was fucking awful. I won't sugarcoat this in any way. The Chargers, for me, are a team that they're a good team, but they just don't know how to close out a game. That's their only downfall right now. They cannot close out a game to save their life. But I'm going to go with my heart on this. I'm taking my Patriots to beat the Chargers.
Pete?
I think Cam is having a terrible season. I think the Pats are really going to miss Rex Burkhead with him not being around. And I just think the Chargers, now Bosa's back. He's looking good. Eckler's back. Keenan Allen's playing well. Herbert's playing well. I can see the Chargers upsetting the Pats in this one, and I'm going with the Chargers.
Scott?
Yeah, you look at the skill position players, and you just look even at the overall roster, and the Chargers are the better team. They should win, but again, like Carl said, they lose all of these games that they should win. It's like picking the Falcons. I mean, it's just you watch the game, you think they're going to win, and they lose, and they sneak up every once in a while and win one. But yeah, I think the Chargers win this game against Patriots in a close, kind of ugly type game.
Dion?
Carl, I got your back, buddy. Patriots. Take the Patriots. I think what happens is the continuance of the Chargers, this woes where they just can't win a game. They look like they're going to, and then they don't. I have to agree with Scott there, man. They just seem like they're going to continually, oh, yeah, man, we're going to get it. And then I'm sorry, but Justin Herbert, grow your hair back, man. You look like a 17-year-old child that just had a random growth spurt, and you're still going through. Okay. Cam Newton looking like a whole grown-ass, weird-looking man, but he's a grown-ass man.
It's going to be interesting to see if these players step up and keep Anthony Lynn on the job as well, because his butt's getting a little bit warm at the minute as well. So
Very much so.
It's getting worse, definitely, for Lynn. I want to say the Chargers because I love Justin Herbert, even if he is a reject from the world's shittest boy band haircuts. I think it's a year too soon for the Chargers, if I'm honest. I think if they do make a change, get a new coach in and a new scheme, they could do better next year, because I don't think their record really reflects how well they've played in games. You know, they just lose it down the stretch. So yeah, I'm taking the hooded one and the completely fucked up dress one to win this game.
About you, John?
Carl, I got your Pats, man. Like you guys said, Herbert and the crew, man, they seem to blow it. I think it's coaching, personally. I say this over and over again, though. Cam's not your guy.
No,
so
I agree with that.
QB next year, you will be.
But I do believe that the Pats pull this one out. It's going to be close, though, because Herbert gives them a chance, but Belichick's too big for this situation.
So where do we think Cam Newton will end up next year, if anywhere? Does he finally become a backup somewhere?
Most certainly. Either that or he's sitting free agency.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody that's going to want him as the first string QB. He's not doing enough to prove that he's a starting quarterback in this division.
Not even with Belichick. If you can't win with Belichick, no.
Yeah.
He certainly had to put film out there that would make anybody think that, you know, there are 31 other players, or, you know, other QBs that.
Have you seen him dress? That's about the only film he's put out there, and it's enough to scare the hell out of anybody.
Me and Nick went to a store in the Brighton Lanes this week, and I'm pretty much sure that's where he buys all his clothes, because there is some
crazy shit in that shop for sure.
Oh yeah, man, that's exactly how it looks.
You could Cam Newton's stylist has obviously either given all of his old outfit to that shop to fucking sell, or that's where he goes and buys them, because there was some weird shit in that shop. Yeah, crazy. Anyone picking the Eagles to knock off the Packers?
I mean, the Eagles have got to step it up, but I just don't think with Wentz at quarterback, they're going to do anything this season. They clearly don't.
I could see Peterson, and I could see the QB Wentz going at the end.
But they don't. They obviously don't fancy Jalen Hurts at QB. They clearly don't sort of fancy him for one reason or another. But then,
I don't think they don't fancy him, Pete. But I just think Doug Peterson is going to hang himself relying on Wentz. When Wentz clearly, I don't know what's happened to him this year. He's just, you know, I mean, I know everyone thinks Cam Newton's bad, but Wentz has been
awful
this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of players there that aren't playing that well this year, but it's crazy to think that people are sort of saying or gunning for Doug Peterson, you know, what he's done there. I mean, his butt is not getting hot just yet. I mean, he'll have another season.
Traded away the person that won the Super Bowl that's got a fucking statue outside the stadium. Trust me. He doesn't care. He's going to ride with Wentz until it's too late. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if they make a change at both QB and coach.
Well, you got to think he doesn't have a tradable contract. Nobody is going to take Carson Wentz and take him that kind of money. The whole point is, when you look at it, if you look at the man statistically, he had one good year, and basically Nick Foles came in and said, "Hey man, good looking out. I'll take it the rest of the way." And now Nick Foles is the hero for them, for at least the Philadelphia Eagles. But you can't get rid of that contract.
That's got to be a big mental thing, that you take that team to the playoffs and then someone else goes and wins a Super Bowl. That's got to affect you mentally, right? I mean,
it definitely has. It definitely has. There's no way in hell that guy can sit around and say, I'm not feeling some type of way about the fact that Nick Foles won a Super Bowl and I didn't. That is a crock of shit. Yeah. I can tell you right now, if I took that far and we were headed to the playoffs and I wound up getting entered and I had to watch another man finish my job, imagine Nick Mullins finishing the job that Jimmy G couldn't, and finishing by actually throwing and looking like a good quarterback. You imagine that shit? That would eat Jimmy G alive. Yeah, he wouldn't have no hope. Mentally, you up here, it's going to screw with you. Me personally, I will say this. This will be the game that Carson Wentz finally gets benched and Jalen Hurts comes in and makes his spot.
You think that's going to happen? Yeah,
I think so.
If the if the NFC East wasn't so trashy, then yeah, I can understand that. But the Eagles are still only sitting half a game back.
True.
This is the problem. There was an interview that Doug Peterson had with the media, and someone asked a question about Carson Wentz. When are you going to put Jalen Hurts under center instead of Carson Wentz? He turned around and said, the moment we put Jalen Hurts in under center is the minute we just turn around and say our season's
over. Yeah.
That's basically what he means. So their season is not over by any means. It's just you're just in such a shit division, and no one else can scrub up a win anywhere.
That does make it easier to continue to ride with the already trash ass quarterback. And if you got somebody sitting behind him that they don't feel as much better, obviously, because they have not put him in the game. They haven't seen anything from him. And it's weird because Jalen Hurts was a winning quarterback at Oklahoma. He was awesome. The starter. He was the starter at Alabama before he got hurt, and they put Tua in and just never let him get back on the field. That's why he transferred to Oklahoma. So it's definitely confusing on why it's, some people, I get it, it doesn't translate, but I would still, me personally, I say that, it's a situation. They don't have any chance against the Packers. There's no chance. None at all. The Packers are going to annihilate them.
You want to see what you've got in Jalen Hurts. They know what they've got in Wentz. And it's fucking awful.
But
does Wentz, Nick, does Wentz just need to maybe up and leave, go somewhere else, clear his head, start again, and sort of try and sort of get back to where he was?
No, but that's not a contract. He can't get out of there. No, that's not a contract.
If you can find someone to take that contract. Now, kind of Jimmy G's in the same situation with the Niners because he's got a high contract.
But his contract is way more tradable than any other QB. He's still in the $20 million range. He's not getting the $30 million.
But what I'm saying is, people are trashing Jimmy G for this, that, the other. Blah, blah, blah. Get rid of him. Let him go back to, the Pats for a new start. This, that, and the other. And that's kind of what Pete's saying about Wentz. But obviously, the contracts are totally different.
Yeah.
And the Eagles are screwed by that contract because he has no trade value. He could play brilliantly the rest of the season and they still want to cut his ass, but because of that contract, they're not going to be able to. So they cut him and take a cap hit, or they ride with him again next year. Because he's not going to be, he's not being paid.
It shows, though, what a crappy division, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Carl...
He's not being paid backup money.
Yeah, and Carl made a lot of sense with what he said because that defense is so because that division is so trash that it doesn't make sense to go ahead and sit him. Now, had you had a clear-cut winner in that division, say somebody was already at 9-4 or what, they've been winning some games. You have no chance at the playoffs. Guarantee you would have seen Jalen Hurts. Because you give him a couple of games, you see what you got in him, and you tell yourself, can I roll forward with this dude? And at a bare minimum, restructure Wentz's contract to make it a tradable contract. You sit him down and you say straight up, hey, look, man, at the end of the day, bro, this ain't working out. This is an unhappy marriage. We appreciate what you've done, but we shouldn't have really took a quarterback. What was he from? North Dakota State? Who the fuck lives in North Dakota?
Trey Lance, the next guy in the draft.
A load of wolves and a load of tumbleweed.
It's interesting. I don't sort of watch too much on the NFC guys, but is Green Bay a sneaky outside bet for the to sort of go all the way this year? I haven't seen really anything of them at all this year, but I've heard
they can't. They've got the same issues what they had last year. They cannot stop the run to save their life.
Yeah.
One good running team and they will die on their own backyard.
The only reason we didn't run on them is because we had tired legs McKinnon. That's the reason why we didn't run on them. If we'd have had Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. in that game, we'd have ran all over their ass.
They came into that NFC game last year, didn't they? All high and everything. And the Niners just fucking schooled them. Forget it.
Ruined them.
They absolutely schooled them. And it didn't matter. You could have had 4 Aaron Rodgers back there and it wouldn't have made a difference. Because their defense cannot stop the run. So it's interesting. Right, Scott. Broncos versus the Chiefs. Blowout.
I mean,
are you expecting an upset?
So why you even ask the question?
I mean, does Patrick Mahomes get pulled in the third or the fourth quarter? That's what we should be picking on this week with this game. I mean, the Broncos are they're awful. I don't know what they were doing with that coaching hire. I don't even know where to get started with them. They're just that bad. I think it goes to 12 straight pretty handily. I think they kind of embarrass them on Sunday Night Football, much to the delight of the Chiefs' kingdom. And, I don't see really any way the Broncos can win this game.
I mean, everyone's got to be KC. There's no one here is going to pick sorry-ass Broncos, are they?
No, I think this could be a typical sort of game where you end up playing as bad as your opposition, and it may not necessarily be a massive blowout that everybody expects, but everyone still expects KC to do the business. But it might just be one of them sort of awkward games that, like I say, you should blow out, should win easily. They take their foot off the gas. They're not thinking, they make mistakes. And maybe they don't run away with it. But obviously, KC are going to win it, but I just don't think it's going to be a big blowout. And I think they sort of hang around a little bit. The Chiefs don't have a great game. People moan and say, are the Chiefs really that good at the end of the game? But they end up playing as badly because of the position and the team that they're playing. But for me, KC win it. But I don't think it's going to be a massive blowout and a great performance by KC by any means.
The Broncos just gave up 30-something points to Taysom Hill and the Saints. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to put at least 45 on them.
We might as well wipe that game off just like the Steelers-Ravens game. They had no QBs, and it just shows as well that all the NFL are interested in finishing this season, or otherwise they would have cancelled that game and given the Broncos a chance.
And Roger Goodell has the actual audacity to turn around and say, no, we don't need a bubble for the players because we feel our protocols are working.
You know what?
Yeah. You didn't think about that and doing all the
You know, I would have loved to have seen Nick. I would have loved to have seen fucking Elway come down and take a few snaps and get his fucking horse teeth smashed in.
Come on, Pete. We all know that the reason why that you hate Horseface, and I think he's the best fucking GM ever, because he got that sorry ass fucking Tebow out the league with his ducks, and forget it. Wibbly wobbly passes. John Elway should be in the Hall of Fame for that alone.
You know what? People should be disgusted at the way Tebow was treated, and everyone's now going, "Oh, Taysom Hill, he's amazing." Taysom Hill is a cheap Tim Tebow, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, whoa, that's disrespectful right there.
Poor man.
Hold on.
Dion, talk your shit, brother.
Let me tell you this right now, Pete. Taysom Hill is way better than Tim Tebow could ever hope to be.
And
Taysom Hill, let me tell you this, bro. If you look at Taysom Hill versus Tim Tebow and you watch their careers, you know what Tim Tebow won? Tim Tebow won on this. Faith. Jesus was helping him win
a game. That's how he won.
There was no, bro, Tim Tebow ain't got nothing on Taysom Hill. Not a damn thing on Taysom Hill. If you put the same plays in for Tim Tebow that you're running for Taysom Hill, Tebow would suck. Was it wrong and disrespectful the way that man was treated? Yes, it was. But he is no Taysom Hill. They are not in the same league. Not by any stretch of the imagination. No.
We'll see what he does in the future, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, he's already done more than T-Boy.
He hasn't done anything.
And I'd rather have fucking Cypress Hill.
I know obviously it's all NFL, but did Taysom Hill have a Heisman? Did Taysom Hill have a BCS championship?
No.
Has Taysom Hill taken his team to the playoffs? So let's wait and see what this kid does before we start.
He will. He eventually will. Crack ribs Drew Brees ain't taking him nowhere. And the Saints are too formidable on defense, and they have too high-powered of an offense, and it'll be a situation where they do go to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So see, Kelly, that's why Pete has so much respect for Tim Tebow, because Tim Tebow came in there and handed him his ass, and that's what happened. You know, that's why you have respect for him when you do.
I know the Tim Tebow story. I know exactly what happened, and I could run through it with anybody. And like, this is what I'm saying. And what you said there, Dion, the guy, the way he got treated at the end of the season, and when
it was wrong. It was wrong. Yeah, I agree. The guy's too much of a good human being.
And the annoying thing was that no other team wanted to pick him up, and exactly the same way with Colin Kaepernick. He could have been a backup. He could have been a starter to many of these teams, and coaches and general managers and owners ignored them because of who they were rather than what they could actually do, which is disgusting.
Yeah, completely.
There you go, Pete. That's probably the most important thing. Aside from everything we've discussed, those are probably the two best points for society today. Honestly, any way you cut it. They both believed in something, and they were both discredited and dismantled because of it. So, all things aside, from a humanity perspective, you're 100% right. And that's important too, because they were crucified for it.
He was a proud evangelist, a proud Christian. Every time you saw him in a post-game conference, what did he say? I'd like to thank, the Lord above, or I'd like to thank Jesus Christ. Whatever he said, that was the thing. You know what I'm saying? And Colin Kaepernick, he took his stand for social justice, and you see those dudes doing what they do. The only difference between the two is I will say this: Colin Kaepernick was way better than Tim Tebow. That much, as far as football player, he was a way better football. He was
but crucified for being human, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't support. I sometimes I shake my head at the Shield because I think, what the hell do you people stand for? Is it just the dollar?
Well, and it's really sad when you see some of these players that are playing QBs, and you look at, like I say, players that were. And at the time when Tebow was behind Mark Sanchez when he went to the Jets, I mean, Rex Ryan just made an absolute mockery of him, whacked him on special teams, and the guy just lost his head. And it was just like, well, basically, if I'm not going to get accepted and I'm just going to be made a mockery, I'm going to fuck off and do one. And it's such a shame to see these players. And like I say, you see, the guy did everything in college. He got his chance at Denver. He couldn't have done more for that team. And are you telling me then that he couldn't have gone and got another starting job somewhere else from just his talent alone? And all of them ignored him, and he went to play backup to fucking Matt Sanchez, Mr. fucking butt fumble himself.
The dog Sanchez went to the AFC game. Again, Sanchez went to the
started.
Anyway.
It's time out, Pete. We've had enough of your old cobblers. Last game, Ravens versus the Cowboys. I'll start this really easy. Ravens. Fuck the Cowboys. Fuck Jimmy Jones. And even the dog agrees with me.
Well, I'm assuming that the majority of the players are going to be sort of slowly coming back from the Ravens. I'm guessing Ingram and Dobbins are going to be back, so they're going to have the three-headed monster in the backfield. I'm guessing Lamar's going to... Well, I don't know. Obviously, Lamar was positive, so, I mean, is he going to be back for this one or not? Because it's got obviously RG3's injured. I don't know... if they then...
He should
Lamar's back.
Lamar is back. Baltimore have got to do something. They're 6-5. If they're going to make the playoffs, they've got to start winning. So they've got to beat teams like Dallas. Dallas look frisky on offense, a little bit better on defense, but unfortunately, with Dalton at QB, he's a joke. So I'm going with the Ravens.
He's the Ginger Ninja. What are you talking about, Carl?
The Dalton scale.
I'll wait for Dion to actually get back to picking his sides off the floor first.
Ginger Ninja?
You could have just said the red rifle. It would have made it a lot easier. Ravens have lost 4 of their last 5. I don't know. Yeah, I've got to take Baltimore in this. This Cowboys team is just shocking. Absolutely shocking.
John?
Baltimore.
Dion?
I'm taking the Ravens.
No, you're not taking the
He hasn't got over that Ginger Ninja statement, has he?
I can't. No,
Tickled him
all fucking day. Ginger
That's twice that's twice in 2 weeks we've got you now in absolute hysterics.
fucking ginger. Ravens though, man.
Scott, what you got?
Yeah, the Ravens. I don't know. I don't think Andy Dalton is that bad. He's got some weapons. He can throw the ball. You look at his numbers when he was with the Bengals and some of the seasons he put up. The dude was a legit starting quarterback. He was with the Bengals was his problem.
Andy Dalton is trash, garbage.
He had a good game 2 weeks ago. He didn't look good last week, but he had a pretty good game the week before that. I just think the Ravens have a little bit too much for them. Season's kind of on the line. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Interesting. Right.
Nice weights.
Dion, John, did last week, obviously, when Peter disappeared, we talked about a bit of music. Did you guys manage to check out Pete's favourite girl band, Little Mix, in the week before you came on?
No, I didn't.
No, I did not.
I bet they've been it's on top of their Spotify list, and they've been listening to them all week long. I bet.
Dion looks tired, man, because he's had to listen to that garbage.
Look,
Nick,
man, I'll tell you this. I listen to a whole bunch of gangster shit. That's all I listen to. Because when I work out in the gym, I need the energy. So I kid you not, I'm listening to shit like West Side Connection, NWA, Tupac, Biggie. I'm listening to a whole bunch of gangster shit all day long. And then I have days where I go into R&B phase. I like my Isley Brothers, you know what I'm saying? And then I have a rock and roll days. I love me some Led Zeppelin, so I varietize.
Don't mention Led Zeppelin or AC/DC because according to Pete, it's shit guitar music. That's how he.
Whoa.
You don't know what music is.
You have no idea what music is. You like this little girl band, Little Minx, Little Tinks, Little Tinkerbell. You don't like Led Zeppelin. You must be high. I think he's actually burning up from the fireplace on his television. Stick that fork in him right now.
Little Mix, they're my favorite.
Nick, what we haven't done for a while, we haven't given Pick Six apparel a shout out for quite some time. So obviously the lads make some decent gear. Big up Pick Six apparel if you need any gear, coasters, mats, mugs. Give them a shout out.
They do shit worldwide because I know they are sending some stuff out to Scott on our behalf. Some coasters and a T-shirt, which should be arriving hopefully soon for Christmas. Big.
You're the man, Nick. Pete.
We have had
lovely you backed us up.
A good chat again this week, guys. We're just going to go around the horn very, very quickly for closing comments. Pete, our Little Mix legit?
Little Mix are as legit as the Steelers 11-0 season, and we keep on rolling, going 12-0, baby. Show some love.
I'm never ever showing love to Little Mix. Carl, final comment, my boy.
Final comments. Go Patriots. Rock Metallica. And good luck to everyone in their fantasy league. That's coming up towards the playoff time.
John, final statements. Are Little Mix legit?
I don't have a damn clue. The name scares me to death, goddammit. But Pete, I'm going to check this out just in case you're onto something, man. But based on Nick's his reaction scares the hell out of me. Listen,
he's just taking a piss, man. I like a lot of music, but I just like a female vocal. And like I say, some people may look at my playlist and think it's a playlist of a 16-year-old high school girl. But I like Taylor Swift. I like Katy Perry. I like chicks like that. That's my sort of music,
dude. I respect a man that can say that shit. Even if I listen to one of those songs, I don't think I can tell you guys about it, and I won't tell you guys about it. But my closing statements today, Nick. the 49ers are going to make a playoff push. I pray to God they do it. Hats off to everybody and their respective teams. Thank you guys for having me. I love joining you guys. Scott, it's been a pleasure. Everybody, good times. I appreciate the laughs. Hell of a way to spend a Saturday.
Indeed.
Certainly a lot better than watching Little Mix videos all day. Dion, my man, do you want to give a plug to your show that you do on YouTube that obviously I tuned into in the early hours of yesterday morning? I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning or something.
Appreciate you guys having me on. It's great having you guys here. Like Carl said, you guys always provide me a good laugh. The ginger ninja. Oh fuck me! I'm never gonna live that with that. If you guys want to check me out. Niner Gang Podcast, number 9 ERGANG podcast. We always keep 49er content rolling. I have my boy John V on Rolls Royce. I gotta get some good timing for Nick and one of you guys to come on. Carl, I'd love to have you on. You've got some very interesting perspectives.
I would do. You have to bring me on as a neutral. I can't just come on because
of
it's a 49ers podcast.
No, yeah. And Scott, you're a nice guy, but I can't have a Chiefs fan on my channel. That's bullshit. You're a nice guy. I love you, guy. You're a very, very cool man, but I can't have a Chiefs guy on my channel. It's gonna hurt. And is this little mate? Is that them?
Yeah, that's
That looks like yeah.
Hey. This looks like a broke Spice Girls to me, but either way, thank you for having me. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Love being on the show, man. Appreciate you guys for even considering me.
No, you're very welcome, Dion. We love having you on.
Scott, closing statement from you, my friend. I think Scott's frozen by the looks of it. Either that, or he's doing a bloody good impression of a mime artist.
Yeah, probably so.
Hey, Nick, I'm surprised you didn't say he looks like Big Ben.
No, he's more mobile than Big Ben. He actually got up and moved around a bit. My final thoughts, as ever, it's great having you guys on. I'll send you the link every week. You know I will, because we love just talking ball. It's not always Niners. Although Pete always
it is mainly Niners.
More 49ers people. But unfortunately, Sadak makes...
Nick, as much as I moan it's always the Niners, I've got a lot of respect for your guys and your friends coming on and joining us.
To be honest, the reason, and I've obviously I spoke to John a lot, spoken to Dion a lot, and it isn't all about the Niners. These guys, and we love having guys from across the pond on because they know their shit. And it's just glad that they get us, our humour. Because basically, and I said this the other week, Pete and I started this during the first lockdown where I was furloughed for 3 months. Pete carried on working. And it kind of gave me an outlet to just talk shit, basically. And Pete the same, having to work all week and obviously being included in that bubble at work, and there are some right twonks who we had to work with during that time. So we thought we'd do this, and it would just be us two, and we'd come on and go, little mix of shit, fuck AC/DC, the Niners are shit, stick it up your arse, Pittsburgh, and that would be the show for an hour. But we could never, and I think Pete,
I think he froze.
Would agree now. How many guests we have on? There's so many subjects, so many other things that come up that we've got to talk about it. Scott's just sent a message. He's lost his connection.
Yeah,
so, Scott, you were doing a very good impression of that, and I think that was your closing statement. But it's great as ever. Jeff being back on, I'm going to have to check on Jason because obviously he was supposed to come on. Don't know what happened to Jason. But as ever, guys, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, we really do.
You guys
it's a big chunk of your time on a Saturday, so we do appreciate it. I know I take the piss out of you, Cole, but I've got a lot of respect for you spending time with us and coming on. It's good fun.
Mate, it's something that I've been trying to sort of like push into as well, because while I've been doing my own YouTube channel, doing my own bit, it's nice to be a guest appearance on something and not feel not feel so much under pressure because I'm trying to organise things. But it's nice just to be a guest and have questions thrown at me.
If you want us to put you under pressure, Carl, that's not a problem, mate. We'll put you
but Nick, this is exactly what me and Nick started off as. Is we just wanted dudes just chilled out. Like, we can't go to a bar and talk football, but that is what we kind of wanted to do. We just wanted to get dudes in, have a beer, talk football, because you can't do it in the pub at the minute. And this is exactly what we're doing. And it is great fun. We're meeting new friends. And like I say, you guys on a Saturday morning, over in America, Carl, Saturday afternoon, it's a big chunk of your time that you're putting towards us. So we really do appreciate it. And especially, obviously, Jeff coming on today as well as a nice little bonus. But yeah, really enjoying your company and meeting new friends, and got a lot of time for you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Brother. Thank you. No problem.
I'll tell you this. After quarantine, after this crap is over, man, me and John B will jump on a flight and come over to a pub and have a few drinks with y'all.
Hell yeah, that'd be a hell of a good time.
If you guys are really
try and come over for when hopefully we get games that arrive back in Wembley or at Tottenham's new ground.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'll roll with my man John across the pond, man. You know, we'll have a good old time, man. I'll have somebody there with me from America, and then having you guys there. Yeah, man, that'd be a great.
If we keep plugging away at Little Mix like this, we might even get some free concert tickets. So keep it up, fellas.
Oh, get the fuck out of here!
And with that, we need to end the show.
We can't end on a little.
Man, they're the biggest girl band in the fucking world. So if we can keep why not?
All auto-tune voice. In fact, they are the Andy Dalton of girl groups. That's all you need to say.
I know full well that they spend their Saturday afternoon watching the Shank Club, and I know they're all watching. So maybe they can hit me up and get me some tickets to some of their gigs.
Yeah, I don't think so. Quick story, and then we'll end it. Right, we'll go up to I can't remember what they call it, NFL Takeover in Regent Street in London, and you get this app, and you have to then walk around this street and collect QR codes, and then you prize at the end of it. Okay, so we were like, well, we got fucking nothing else to do. We might as well go fucking walking, and it was like quite a couple of miles, I guess. So have anyone seen the QR code? So we go to Foot Locker, there's one there, and we do this, we do that. So we go around like these 16 things, and we were all really excited because we got them all. And then all of a sudden you get a ping thing come up and tell you what you've won. So I won, I think it was like a phone case and some other bits and pieces, which NFL stuff related, that's fine. Our other guy that was doing it with us won a Game Pass subscription, but it wasn't the full Game Pass because you couldn't watch live games. But of course,
oh dear!
So he was completely bollocks. He thought, it's like 150 quid. So I don't know, maybe $200 probably over in the States to get a season-long Game Pass.
Yeah, I've got Game Pass here, so yeah, it costs about 147.
Really to win this prize, and then realised that he could only watch replays. He couldn't watch games live. He won 2 tickets to go and see, and this group are probably the male equivalent of Little Mix, the Vamps. So they knew his demographic before he even started. So 2 people won really cool sort of NFL stuff, and he ends up to 2 fucking tickets to a boy band. That is all you know about how Pete rocks or doesn't rock because it's shit guitar music. Anyway, my name is Nick.
I'm a comedian.
Joining us on the Shank Club. Goodbye from Pete. There you go, the Vamps. Even, mate, honestly, do a matchup of the Vamp and Little Mix.
We all know, mate. We all know I'm a chameleon. I can rock with anything. I'll do anything. I'm the most far out there. I'll go up, down, any people, anything. I'll do anything. I'm not in the middle. I'm up and I'm down, and I'll admit to anything and I'll try anything. And that's what life's about. Experience, everything.
And unfortunately, your box of chocolates are all rancid.
Well, maybe next
week we are going. Pete, shut up. We're going.
Well, no, we need to sort of try and get some people to send some money in, because I think we need to sort of try and buy you a heater, because otherwise you're going to end up looking like fucking Frosty the Snowman.
You just nailed it on the head there, Pete. I know why I know who has created that Patreon, because he needs heating in that garage. He needs to clear some of his shit away, so he's created a Patreon to actually get some stuff in and make it look more presentable.
I was going to mention the Patreon. If you do want to subscribe to us on Patreon, please do. It's very, very cheap, like Pete. There are 3 tiers, and they're no more than 15 quid. So,
Nick, there's actually one person that hasn't said goodbye, actually, mate, and that's Pete the Potato.
I love little Nick. I love the Lambs. Steelers 12-0. And
now throw it against the wall.
Nah, can't do that. Pete Carroll might appear on that one day. I need an industrial fucking fork to him. Guys, it's been great. We've got to get out of here. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy the games, whoever you support. Hope your teams win. Bills, we're coming for you. Shank Club NFL, we're done. We're out. Take care, everyone.
Peace.